Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Wisconsin.
Now this is the kind of day we've been waiting for. What a beautiful Friday here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we are set for the Cubs and the Brewers, expecting a big crowd here tonight at Miller Park. The I-94 rivalry. Brewers all decked out in their gold tops. Carlos Gomez, he's back in the lineup. And the Brewers try to continue their winning ways. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. We'll hear from Sophia Minnaert in a little bit as well. Now, the Brewers coming off a series win against the Baltimore Orioles of the American League East. Back-to-back wins in that series. And, Rock, the Brewers now with 8 consecutive games in double-digit hit totals. The offense is churning right now.
Guys are starting to get healthy. Still waiting for Aramis Ramirez, but Ron Renegade tweaked the lineup a little bit. You got Segura, number 1, Braun second in the lineup, and you got Gomez in more of a run-producing spot in that batting order. It certainly has worked out nicely. 8 consecutive games, as you mentioned, big hit totals, starting to score some runs. And the Brewers have been waiting for this for a while because they really have placed a lot of pressure on the pitching staff, both the starting rotation and the bullpen. Now the offense is covering a little bit, expanding that margin for error just a little bit. Everybody up and down that lineup starting to put together some pretty good at-bats. Jonathan Lucroy, very consistent. And the guy that's been a big surprise as of late, Chris Davis. This guy's really on a roll right now.
Now the Brewers scoring 7 runs a game in that series against the O's. Now they'll give the ball to Marco Estrada. All about location with him. Craig and Augie will have more when we continue from Miller Park.
Set to battle here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Augie and Craig back with you here, and we're going to talk a little bit about Marco Estrada on the mound tonight against Travis Wood. And he gave him 4 home runs in his last game and won. It doesn't happen too often, but the home runs have gotten to him. 16 to lead the league this season.
You know, it comes with 2 things. It starts out with location and it talks about getting ahead of hitters, and that's really what Marco has to do. Lately, it seems like he's tried to be too specific, trying to throw the ball to too many spots, being too fine, has been getting the ball over the middle of the plate. You look at a fastball up in the zone right here, the ball is not bad that it's up, but down the middle of the plate, it allows the hitters to adjust. When Marco throws the ball best, he is dialed into the zone and he keeps the ball down. It starts with location first, and secondly, good movement on the ball. Getting at a hitter allows him to throw good pitches in good locations, a big reason why he's successful.
Earlier this year, he had that success, looking to regain it here against the Cubs. The first of 3 in the I-94 rivalry going on here at Miller Park here tonight. We've got first pitch lineups all coming up here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Friday night, just about game time here at Miller Park, Milwaukee. 71 degrees, just a gorgeous night for baseball. The roof is wide open as the sun sets. And Red Renteria and the Chicago Cubs coming up I-94 to take on the Brewers. Their road trip continues. Started in San Diego, then 3 in San Francisco, and now here in Milwaukee. Here's the Associated Bank batting order with Bonifacio, Link, and Valbuena. Batting ahead of Starlin Castro, has had a great year against Milwaukee so far in 2 different series. Justin Ruggiano just back from the DL. He's in left. Wellington Castillo does the catching. And the bottom 3, Nate Scherholtz, Mike Olt getting the start at first for Rizzo, and Travis Wood on the mound. And that's the starting 9 that will face Marco Estrada.
Yeah, Marco picked up a win his last time out against the Marlins. It was a 9-5 victory. Last 2 outings, not so good for Marco. 9 earned runs in 11 2/3 innings. So looking for a rebound. Even with those last 2 starts, an earned run average under 4, and he's had very good success against the Cubs. 5-1 in 8 starts. Well, Let's check out the Brewers as they line up defensively with the left-hander on the mound for the Cubs. You got the right-handed lineup in there. Ron Gomez and Davis from right to left. Ramirez, Segura, Ricky Weeks gets to start at second base. Lucroy at first, and Maldonado behind home plate.
Let's check the four-man umpiring crew today. The very sizable Jordan Baker will call the balls and strikes. Angel Campos, Jerry Meals, and Paul Immel on the bases. There's the crew chief, Jerry Meals. He's a guy to keep an eye on in case we have replay review. And all the pieces put in place as we get ready for the first game of this three-game weekend series with the Cubs. Brewers will continue their homestand next week against Minnesota. Twins are coming in Monday and Tuesday. So in all for the Brewers, 8 games over 9 days, and so far so good. Rock, the Brewers winning 2 out of 3 from the Orioles.
Yeah, some good games against Baltimore. Finally, the offense kind of came to the ball club in that final game of that 3-game series. A big win for the Brewers. A big 8th inning. Stretched out their lead.
First pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike. Estrada to Emilio Bonifacio, and away we go.
Might be a high ball night tonight with the Jordan Baker behind home plate. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall. How low can he go, right?
Yeah, he's a big man, and strike 2, 0-2 the count. Well, if he's a high ball umpire, and by the way, umpires hate when you say things like that. There's only one strike zone.
Right.
But that would work well for Marco Estrada, right? He likes to pitch upstairs.
Yeah, he's a big man. Not sure he can get down too low, but there's a good high fastball from Marco. A good start to his night.
1, 2, 3. Down goes Bonifacio. And a strikeout for Marco to start his night tonight.
Well, the changeup and the high fastball have been what Marco has been able to use to have some success. He's flipped up some curveballs lately, using less changeups, more curveballs, but he's always been able to throw that fastball for strikes.
There's a great look at the four-seam grip, four-seam fastball of Estrada to get his first K. Here's Junior Lake. Last time we saw him, he was a hot hitter for the Cubs. Cubs have been cooled off as a team by the San Francisco Giants. They were shut out in their last game. A 5-0 San Francisco win. They did have the day off yesterday, the Cubs. And then they were shut out on Tuesday as well, after they beat the Giants 8-4 to get Samardzija his first win of the season. Did not score a run the rest of that series, and dropped 2 out of 3 to the Giants at AT&T Park. How about this? 6 pitches, 2 strikeouts for Marco Estrada. Not wasting any time with the Cubs.
Has had very good success against Chicago. We mentioned a 5-1 record and a 4.02 earned run average, and both strikeouts have come on the high fastball.
2 up, 2 down for Estrada. That'll bring up Luis Valbuena. Tonight, Renteria has Valbuena at third base with Bonifacio playing second. Sometimes you'll see Valbuena play second and Bonifacio in center field when Darwin Barney's in the lineup. Does have a little bit of flexibility. But noticeably absent from the Cubs lineup tonight is Anthony Rizzo, in need of a day off, trying to get him back-to-back days off, which is essentially what it'll be. And Rock, you pointed out those numbers in the pregame show. Rizzo against Marco Estrada is 1 for 21 career, and a big bat sits to start this game for the Cubs.
And the Cubs having a rough time scoring runs even with Rizzo in the lineup. It's been 20 innings since they've scored a run. Got shut out in back-to-back games against the Giants. So one of their big offensive threats sits this one out, at least while Marco's in the game.
Got Mike Holt playing first base tonight for the Cubs. 1-2 pitch, and Valbuena fouls it back. 90-mile-an-hour fastball from Estrada. He's typically around 87 to 89. Occasionally he'll hit 90 or 91. And it's a straight fastball, but what makes him so effective is that changeup. The 1-2 pitch. There's the changeup. It misses down and away.
Yeah, up until his last outing, there's been about a stretch of 2 games before the game against the Marlins where he really hasn't had good command of the changeup, which is unusual for Estrada. He's always got that pitch. The changeup better last time out against Miami.
Little jam shot, shallow right center. Gomez and Braun coming in. That'll be Gomez. Terrific start for Estrada. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of Ks, and now the Brewers coming up. Two strikeouts, and here we go to the bottom of the first. Travis Wood getting in his final warm-up tosses. The Associated Bank batting order for Ron Renicky has Segura, Braun, and Lucroy at the top. Gomez hitting cleanup. Chris Davis has bumped up to the 5 spot tonight. Ricky Weeks gets the start. He's batting 6, and then it's Reynolds, Maldonado, and Marco Estrada. Note that Lucroy will play first base tonight with Maldonado behind the plate. And there is Travis Wood, and he's a pitcher, Rock, that is going along pretty well right now. And that includes a start against Milwaukee 2 starts ago.
Yeah, he beat the Brewers at Wrigley Field on May 18th, gave up 2 runs in 7 innings, and he was very good his last time out against the Giants. Wood has won 4 of his last 5 and 3 in a row. He relies on the fastball and the cutter. He's going to throw a lot of cut fastballs today against his Brewers lineup.
Wood had a very good game against Milwaukee at Wrigley Field. That was on the last road trip for the Brewers a couple of weekends ago. And his first pitch, Gene Segura back up the middle off of Wood, a race, and the throw not in time. Infield hit for Segura, who continues to swing the bat well out of that leadoff spot.
And this offense has been clicking largely because of 2 guys at the top of the order. Renicky shook it up a little bit. Segura and Braun 1 and 2 in the lineup, and since that time these guys have been swinging the bats. And it's Segura's speed that enables him to beat this one out. Oh, good play by Valbuena. Hey, Travis Wood doing a pretty good job getting the glove down. He's a pretty good athlete. Fields his position, can swing the bat, and he can run the bases.
Starting pitchers having a little fun over there. Garza and Loesch. So Gene Segura now in his 8th game as a leadoff hitter. He's hitting .353 updated batting average in that role. And Ryan Braun at the plate takes a strike from Wood. I was talking to Ron Renicky about the lineup construction because Aramis Ramirez is close to returning. Sophia will have a report on Ramirez a little later on in our broadcast. But I asked him, what are you going to do with the top 4 in the lineup? Are you going to put Ramirez back in the cleanup spot? He said, no way, not right now.
No, he can't.
I'm going to let this ride it out.
You got to leave these guys alone right now.
So it looks like Ramirez will enter into the 5 spot. That ball's hit deep, way back right center field, and it is up and it is gone. Ryan Braun, a 2-run shot. Just like that, the Brewers are on the board. It has been since May 22nd of last year. Over a calendar year since we saw Braun homer at Miller Park. He is on the board now with his 8th of the season.
Yeah, four-seam fastball out away from him. He just puts a charge into that one. The only question was it going to be high enough? He hit it so hard, barely able to sneak over that wall in right center. And the Brewers pick up right where they left off against the Orioles on Wednesday. Well, you leave a fastball out over the plate to Ryan Braun. Look out. That's where he wants it. 2-0 Crew.
That hit the top of the wall, then bounced off the back wall. Hit the top of the yellow padding, and Braun, a 2-run home run. That's got to feel good. By the way, that's a milestone RBI for Ryan Braun. He now has 706 career runs batted in. That passes Jeff Jenkins for 4th all-time in Brewers history. Braun is now 4th on the list, 84 runs batted in behind Paul Molitor. Top 3 in Brewers franchise history go Yount, Cooper, and Molitor. Robin Yount with over 1,400 career runs batted in.
No surprise on that list, huh? Braun probably surpassed Molitor sometime next year, I would think. Stays healthy. How about the top of this batting order, the way Ron Rennick is constructed? It seems like every night, every game, the Brewers get something going early on because of those two.
As Lucroy takes a call, strike 3. He knew it. Down he goes. And the first out for Travis Wood. And you got to give a lot of credit to Braun, I think, on this one. There's not many 3-hole hitters who have been all-stars and MVP that want to move out of that spot, you know. And Rennick brought up the notion. Braun said, absolutely. We need to have Lucroy in the 3-hole. We need to get Gomez in the cleanup spot. And the Brewers' top slugger, Ryan Braun, working with the manager to get this order the way it is. And you knew it was set up for good things when Carlos Gomez says he felt sexy hitting in the cleanup spot. Matter of fact, the first day Rennick put the lineup card out, Gomez was upset. He didn't even bother looking past the leadoff position, having been there the first 42 starts. And he went right to the manager's office. He goes, hey, what's up, Skip? I'm ready to play. He goes, no, you're in the lineup. Just look 3 spots down. And Gomez has looked every bit the cleanup hitter since he's been in that role.
As Ron Rennick was backpedaling behind his desk. Keep me out of the lineup, will you? Yeah, it's working. I mean, that's the one thing that the manager can do is shake up the batting order, try different things in different spots, something that's a little bit unconventional, which this is, to put Braun in that 2 spot. I mean, you're right, though. When Ramirez comes back, you figure he's not going to mess with the top 4 in the order. Why would you?
And you figure it'll take a few days, maybe a week or so, to get Ramirez back and comfortable as Gomez draws the walk. So the third base runner of the inning, Gomez, is on for Chris Davis. And you talk about a red-hot hitter. Davis in our Southwest Airlines non-stoppable play, not only hitting for average, but hitting for power as well. Currently on a 7-game hitting streak. And 4 homers during that 7-game streak.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. I mean, he started in the series against the Miami Marlins in Florida when he started to drive the ball to the opposite field, and it continued on his homestand. 7 for 11 with 3 home runs. That's not too bad.
Homered in every game of that Orioles series.
And all because he's not trying to pull the baseball. He will if he gives him one. Pitcher gives him something to pull, but he's staying on the baseball, driving it up the middle into the gap in right center.
A heavy 7-gamer going for Davis. If you're just picking us up, the Brewers with 2 on the board on a Ryan Braun opposite field home run. And Davis lines one into the gap in right center. The speedy Gomez, watch him run all the way around third. He'll score easily. And it's an RBI double for Chris Davis. 3-0 Milwaukee.
Need you say more about why Davis has been so good lately? On cue, he takes a fastball middle away and drives it. I mean, that was a rope out in the right center. And the Brewers put up a 3-spot in the first inning. Check it out. And 2 weeks ago, he tries to pull that baseball. It's probably a 6-4 to 3 double play. This time he waits back and drives it into the gap and drives in a run. That ball was smoked.
And Gomez going around the bags about as fast as is humanly possible. 3-0 Brew Crew. Davis now 8 for 12 on this homestand. He's at second with 1 out. And here is Ricky Weeks. Ricky provided the only offense against Travis Wood at Wrigley Field. He hit a 2-run home run. Brewers only got 2 hits and 2 runs off of Wood in that game. And it was no cheapie either. Weeks hit one into deep left center, more towards center than left, and hit it out of the stadium. He hammered one onto Waveland Avenue.
Talking to Ricky before the game, asking him how he's been able to keep himself sharp without a whole lot of playing time. There's a lot of work before the game. In the cage, batting practice, going up, while the game's going on, taking some soft toss, hitting off the tee. And he has done a very good job staying ready with limited at bats. That's hard to do, believe me.
Now Weeks comes in hitting .297. 2 homers, 8 runs batted in. Ricky shows up to the ballpark every time a series begins, and he's hoping that there'll be a string of left-handers. Sometimes you don't even see a left-handed starter in the rotation, but that platoon with Weeks and Jeanette has worked well for both players, and you combine their numbers. Brewers are getting a lot of production from the second base position as Weeks lines one foul, just missed the line. Not by much. And a loud strike.
And that would be reviewable because it's beyond the umpire. Paul Emmel down there at third base. Anything in front of the umpire, not reviewable. Past the umpire, it is. Let's see. Yep, foul by about a foot.
We've had a lot of challenges this year, a lot of review plays. I don't recall one, at least since I've been here. You may have had one when I was gone, but where the umpires have had to place base runners, which was the biggest concern with replay and the discussion about replay leading up to this season. Every ballpark is equipped with a high camera that covers the entire infield. There's a ground ball that'll sneak through. Here comes Davis, and he will score, and Ricky Weeks keeps it going in the first. RBI single for Weeks. 4-0 Brewers.
Yeah, just a nice approach again. Opposite field approach. Gets a pitch out away from him. And just drops the bat head on, and Castro can't get to it. Rolls into center field, and Chris Davis, who doubled the drive in a run, able to score. So a very much different start for Travis Wood here tonight than he has in his last 2 starts. I think I mentioned that his last start was against San Francisco. It was San Diego. But a rough first inning for him tonight.
Yeah, Wood giving up just 3 hits against the Padres at Petco Park. Quick visit by former Brewer Chris Bosio, Cubs pitching coach, also a former Brewers coach. Not much you can say to a starting pitcher with this kind of beginning. And some hard hit balls. The Brewers with 4 on the board, 4 hits and a walk. Mark Reynolds coming in batting .217, has 12 homers, 25 runs batted in. He leads the club in home runs for the Brewers, and he is, if you make him a third baseman, which he is tonight, has the most home runs by a third baseman in the National League. Been filling in nicely for Aramis Ramirez.
It's going to be tough to get him out of playing time. I mean, he's been so good. I mean, not just the play with the big flies, but the big home runs, but defensively. I mean, whether it's third base or first base, he's been outstanding.
Ultimately, when Ramirez returns from the hamstring injury, it'll be a platoon over at first base with Overbay and Reynolds, and then Reynolds would be able to pick up Ramirez at third occasionally. Aramis is not a guy who's going to play every single day anymore. I mean, he'll play most days, but he's going to need occasional days off. Typically day game after a night game.
Yeah, especially when he first comes back. He's not going to play 3-4 days in a row, I don't think. It's one of the reasons why the Brewers are looking at that series against the Twins in Minneapolis, so that perhaps Ramirez can DH. Keep him off the field for a couple of days, give him some at-bats.
Hitters count for Reynolds, 4 runs in. 7th batter of the inning to hit against Wood. 3-2, big swing by Reynolds. And he got him. Reynolds strikes out. And the 2 outs in this inning have been via the K for Travis Wood. And with Weeks at first, here comes Martin Maldonado.
Take a little off, you add a little bit. There's a 4-seam fastball out away from Reynolds. Looking at a pretty good pitch to hit up in the zone. Outer half, swings right through it. If you're looking for big velocity out of these 2 starters tonight, think again. You're not going to see it. 90-91 tops for both of them.
Maldonado takes a first pitch strike from Wood. Martin Maldonado behind the plate tonight with Lucroy at first. An excellent defensive catcher, Maldonado, who is swinging the bat pretty well this year. Has a couple of homers and is hitting .270 starting play tonight. You talked about Weeks pressed into tough duty with limited playing time. It's so difficult to stay sharp offensively. Maldonado's in the same boat, and maybe even a little tougher because he has the added burden of catching and game planning with a pitcher.
And not only tough to stay sharp offensively, but behind home plate. But he's done a nice job of it.
Wellington Castillo taking a shot. That one hurt him a little bit. See where it got him.
Right between the eyes, right there. That'll wake you up. He wasn't awake already.
Eighth batter of the inning. Maldonado down in the count, 0-2. Martin shedded a lot of weight this offseason. He dropped 20+ pounds to get ready for the season. Felt like he was just carrying too much. It affected his quickness, his mobility behind the plate. That ball is in the gap right center field, and it is down a base hit. Weeks all the way from first will try to score, and the throw comes in. Weeks is in there. Another RBI double. 5-0 Milwaukee as Maldonado drives in Ricky Weeks.
Well, the Brewers are getting their running in this first inning. Second time the Brewers have been able to score from first base on a double. Out in the right center, Scherholtz gets it out there along the warning track up against the wall. And Ricky able to score standing up. Another double. This one a 2-out double. And the Brewers with a big crooked number here in the first inning. Boy, good to see this offense really starting to come together. Certainly takes the burden away from the pitching staff.
Now 5-run, 5-hit inning with a home run by Braun and then doubles by Davis and Maldonado. Here's Marco Estrada. Pitchers know it's going to be a good day when they bat in the first inning, as the Brewers bat around here against Travis Wood. Marco, a 3-up, 3-down top of the first with a couple of strikeouts. And they'll ask if he went. No, he didn't. 1-2 the count on Estrada. Marco's still looking for his first hit of the season. 0 for 17 at the plate to start the year.
He's a master at dumping one over that first baseman's head. That's where most of his hits come from.
And because of that, Sherholtz is playing in a rover position out there. Very shallow. 2-2 pitch is on the corner. Called strike 3. The 3 outs, strikeouts, but a whole lot of damage around him. Braun, his first Miller Park home run in over a calendar year. He goes deep, a 2-run shot. Davis doubles in. Gomez. Ricky Weeks with an RBI. And then it was Maldonado to finish it up. A 5-run first inning.
The Orioles, Ryan Braun with a 2-run shot in the first. 5-0 Crew. Hey, Joe Mauer and the Minnesota Twins head to Miller Park to battle Jonathan Lucroy and the Brewers Monday and Tuesday as the Brew Crew caps off their homestand against their interleague rivals. Tickets start at just $9. Reserve your spot at brewers.com. Just a reminder, Monday is a 6:20 start, BA. Just to keep you
That's what I hear.
up to date. Parking lots open up at 4:20. So if you get here a little bit before 4:20, you might have to wait a bit.
That's the reason. 620 WTMJ, the flagship radio station of the Milwaukee Brewers. There are actually tickets available for $6.20.
You got all our information straight away.
Absolutely.
All
Never had it.
away.
Never doubted it. Never had it any other way. Right on the money. From day one. Say hey to our good friends over there, Carl Mall and all of our buddies at TMJ. Estrada starts Starlin Castro with strike one. Now Marco staked to a 5-run lead in the first inning. Those shutdown innings so important. The Brewers have been scoring a ton of runs early in games, even in that series against Baltimore. They were scoring early, a lot of first inning runs, and then most of those games turned out to be pretty tight by the end.
Yeah, Brewers have a difficult time adding on late, giving the Orioles an opportunity to come back. But they did erupt for 4 runs in the 8th inning on Wednesday. Winning going away. It felt good, I imagine, for the team. Haven't been too many of those.
Now the Brewers with a 4-run 8th inning. Chris Davis hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th against the Orioles. Took 2 out of 3 from the Birds. Cubs are up now with a 3-game series, and then the Twins for those 2 games. As Castro takes a strike, and the count goes full.
A little upset with the call, wasn't he? Maybe Jordan Baker isn't a high ball umpire. That was right at the knees.
And Estrada lost him. So you walk a leadoff hitter after your offense gives you 5 runs. That's a bit of a no-no. Marco, a lead walk to Castro, one of the Cubs' more dangerous hitters. And that'll bring up Justin Ruggiano now.
Yeah, 17 walks now for Marco in 10+ starts. That covers 62 innings. Not a guy that walks many.
And Ruggiano, a high fly ball to Braun in right. And there is the first out. Marco has had some trouble with the home run ball. In the month of May, Marco has allowed 11 home runs. He gave up 4 home runs in his last start against the Marlins. They were hit by 2 players, Stanton and Garrett Jones, and each had 2 apiece. They were all 4 were solo shots. Marco giving up 11 home runs this month, 16 total. That is an area of improvement for Estrada, but overall he has been very consistent. He's been excellent at the back end of the rotation. Comes in with an ERA of 3.98 beginning play today.
Yeah, but most of the 16 home runs are solo shots. I mean, he typically doesn't walk many. Last time out against the Marlins, did not walk a batter. He's got less hits than innings pitched. 53 hits in 62 innings of work. That's pretty good. It's when you give up the home runs with men on base, you know, 2-3-run shots. Those are the ones that kill you.
Well, Marco facing one of his nemesis batters here in Wellington Castillo, who is at 4 career home runs against Marco. He's got him in a hole. 0-2. Castillo with 5 home runs, 21 driven in this year for the Cubs. You look at Estrada's walk numbers this year. He's averaging less than 2 walks per start. And he's had some big strikeout games this season. He had a 9 strikeout game against the Cubs here at Miller Park at the end of April, on the 26th of April. It's his high water mark for Ks. He also had an 8 strikeout game against the Pirates here at Miller Park.
And Castillo has had a lot of success against Marco with a changeup. So Marco Estrada sticking with a fastball to the Cubs catcher, trying to change it up a little bit, try to do something different, because Castillo has been wearing them out. A lot of homers.
4 of his 19 career home runs coming against Marco Estrada. Brewers are looking to turn 2 here. Got 1 out. And Estrada keeping Castro close. Fly ball, shallow center. Gomez got a late break. Segura's back and makes the catch. Gene Segura making that play look easy. He has done that a number of times over the last few weeks, and this was a beauty here.
Look how far he goes. He was shading in the hole, making it even a further run. Making it look easy. I mean, kind of takes his eye off for a split second, looks up, and is able to keep it in the glove. I mean, look how still that head is. It's important to not have that head bouncing around. That makes that catch very difficult. He's just so smooth on that play. Not many make it better than he does.
Well, and every infielder will tell you the biggest fear on a play like that is an outfielder, especially one the size of Carlos Gomez, coming in full bore from their outfield spot. There have been a lot of gruesome injuries over the years. I can remember Dale Swain being one of them, where an outfielder's come in as an infielder's going back in a vulnerable spot. Look how far he goes to make that play.
And Gomez is very deep, and the thing that makes that even more dangerous, nobody called that probably because you don't call it unless you're under it, or unless you know you're going to be able to catch it. Neither one of them sure.
There's a swing and a miss. Scherholtz out in front of a changeup, and it's 0-2. Nate Scherholtz starting to get his batting average on the move north a little bit. He was down into the 170s when we saw him last. Foul pop. Lucroy is over, and he's got it. So Estrada, leadoff walk, comes right back, retires the next three hitters. 5-0 Brew Crew.
Second, Aramis Ramirez is getting closer to making a comeback from the disabled list with a strained hamstring. And in our Falco All-Star voting update, he is second among third basemen. So you can go to Brewers.com and vote for Aramis and the other Brewers for the All-Star game. And Aramis Ramirez has agreed to make a minor league rehab assignment. He will go to Appleton for Sunday and Monday, a pair of afternoon games there. Ron Renneke saying that he is planning to play maybe 5 to 6 innings, get a few at-bats, and hopes that, he'll come through those 2 games clear, ready to go. And Aramis said he's looking forward to it. He hasn't made a minor league assignment since 2009 with the Cubs, and says he's ready to go, ready to get back out there.
And his teammates tell him, make sure you bring your checkbook. He'll be picking up the spreads there in the Midwest League. And
it's expected, yeah.
He'll be glad to do it, I'm sure. Well, I think Maybe the biggest concern, if there is one, is weather. I think there's a little bit of a chance of rain Sunday, a better chance of rain on Monday. So you just have to take it day by day, and a little over an hour and a half up to Appleton, so you can make those last minute decisions, and hopefully Ramirez will get his at bats and then be ready to roll as soon as possible. Segura, little jam shot over to Olt. And the first out. Segura, who started the 5-run inning in the first with an infield hit, is retired to start the second.
Yeah, that was a cutter right there. Good pitch in on the hands of the right-handed batter.
A nice hand for Ryan Braun, who delivered the first run-producing hit off the top of the wall and out of here. Powerball home run number 8 for Ryan Braun.
Kind of the way it's been going for this Brewers offense. When Segura and Braun get on base, it relaxes everybody in the lineup, and because of that, I think it's been a well spread out offense for the Brewers as of late. I mean, double digits in hits for the last 8 games, and well on their way again tonight.
A 5-run, 5-hit inning. The 5 runs ties the most runs in an inning this year. Brewers scored 5 against Arizona on May 6th. That was also in the first inning. And Braun finally has a Miller Park home run this season, his first of the year. Ron Renicky said earlier today the only thing that he's concerned about a little bit is that he feels like Braun and Ramirez belong back to back in the lineup. 2 hitters of that caliber, and you don't figure that Ramirez is going to hit third, but he did quickly mention he's going to, this batting order, the way it's constructed at the top 1 through 4, is going to stay this way until they get into a slump or they stop hitting. As long as they're rolling, he's not going to mess with it too much. But in the long run, baseball theory states you put your 2 best hitters back to back and run producers, and typically that's 3rd and 4th in the batting order, just kind of where they fit.
And nothing typical about what the Brewers have tried to do offensively. And I'll tell you, it's going to be when you talk about your best hitters, Braun, Lucroy, Gomez, I think those 3 have been pretty good all season long. Ramirez is just going to have to fit into that lineup somewhere, and then maybe make an adjustment based on who's hot, who's not.
Well, Braun goes down the left field line, and it is hooking. It is a foul ball. Just got ahead of it.
I think Lucroy and Gomez are Ramirez caliber hitters right now anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, certainly up there. And then you throw in Chris Davis, and if he stays hot, that's another spot you wouldn't want to mess with too much. Davis hitting 5th tonight, so you're going good when you're this deep into the detail of the batting order.
Right.
That's how good the Brewers are swinging the bats.
Be nice to add another too, wouldn't it? Coming up.
Payoff pitch in the air to left center. That's going to be a base hit. Braun thinking about 2. And he'll hold up. He took 1 stride and then stopped. Junior Lake got a good throw in. And Braun hustling all the way. Thought about stretching it into a double. He'll settle for a single.
That 4-seam fastball. This time they tried to come in on him and nothing doing. Braun able to get the bat head out. Look how deep Junior Lake's playing. I mean, he's about 10 feet from the warning track. All he has to do is go across, and he cuts it off and holds Braun to a single.
So the Brewers now with 6 hits. Braun has 2 of them, and here is Lucroy. Lucroy in the hole, diving stop, and it bounces away from Castro. That'll be an infield hit for Lucroy.
Well, Castro keeps it in the glove, and if he's able to get a good throw off at second base, they might get him out. Talking about Braun, he's got good speed. Not much of a lead for Braun. If he gets it there and makes a throw, he might get him, but it really doesn't matter. He didn't hold on to it, and Lucroy in with a base hit. Well, the beat goes on for this offense. Now 7 hits in the first inning plus.
And for Lucroy, that hit bumps his average up to .328, which is third best in the National League right now, behind Tulowitzki and Yasiel Puig. Lucroy tied with Chase Utley. 2 on, 1 away. 5-0 Brewers. Here is Gomez. And that ball's ripped into center field. A base hit. Around third, and the score is Braun. And the Brewers are cranking away tonight. Gomez with an RBI single. 6-0.
Travis Wood just doesn't have much location on his fastball at all. When he's putting it on the corners, it's up in the strike zone. Check out this pitch. Cutter out away from Gomez, and he just hammers on it. These guys are waiting back nicely. Not trying to pull the baseball, all about approach. Johnny Naren's got to be grinning ear to ear the last week plus. And all the work that Johnny and these hitters have put in all year finally paying off. And the hitting coach couldn't be happier.
Looks like they're on their way to their 9th consecutive double-digit hit total. Already 8 hits on the board. By the way, Carlos Gomez now a 10-game hitting streak. First double-digit streak of the year for the Brewers. And it's been a hard streak at that. Carlos Villanueva getting loose in the Cubs bullpen, former Brewer. And the end could be near for Travis Wood. Just 1 out. Here's Chris Davis. Davis extending his hitting streak to 8 games with an RBI double in the first inning.
Numbers starting to look like where they expected him to be at this point in the season. He's on a roll. He's on a tear right now. There's a balk. Timeout.
Yeah, time was given. The catcher Castillo asked for it, and the home plate umpire granted him timeout before that. It's one of those nights for the Cubs. You can tell frustration from the pitcher and the catcher.
And for a team that has had a miserable time in scoring runs, not just this year, but lately, having scored in 22 innings, to be down 6-0 can be very frustrating.
Cubs coming in to play tonight, 19-32 for the season. Rick Renteria's first year as the skipper. Cubs let Dale Swaim go after last season. Bouncer to short. Castro to second for 1. The throw to first is in time, and a double play to end the inning. But the Brewers get a run on 3 more hits, and it's 6-0. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. And by Gerhardt's, the kitchen and bath store. Find inspirational design solutions and quality kitchen and bath products for your home. Visit GerhardtStore.com. Beautiful night, Miller Park, Milwaukee. Great to have you with us, and a great start for the Brew Crew this evening. 6 runs on the board. Marco Estrada with 2 scoreless innings, 2 strikeouts and a walk thus far. First of a 3-game series with the Chicago Cubs. Mike Olt will lead off for the Cubs. The National League leader among rookies in home runs, has 9 home runs this year. And he homered against Estrada. Matter of fact, that was his last home run on May 18th. A power bat came to the Cubs in the Matt Garza deal that sent Garza to the Rangers last year. Once an untouchable, deemed by the Texas Rangers, had some vision problems, concussion problems, and the Cubs are hoping that he comes back and will continue as the player that he was in his lower level minor league career with the Rangers. He put up some huge power numbers in the Rangers system.
He's got the 9 home runs and limited at bats, 141 at bats, 9 homers. Not hitting for much of an average. Of course, Rick Renteria is figuring if he can get a hold of one every now and again, that's going to help him.
Renteria, former bench coach in San Diego, getting his first big league managerial job. And Estrada walks him. Second consecutive inning with a leadoff walk. And walking the number 8 hitter will bring the pitcher Wood to the plate, who is a good hitting pitcher. Wood swings a bat so well that in a 6-0 game you might even consider him to swing away here. We'll see. He's very fast. And he does swing away, and he cuts right through it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, drop down a bunt, you're down 6-0. I think you got to be looking for a big inning, don't you? Even in the 3rd. .211 batting average, not too shabby for a pitcher.
Estrada will face Wood as if he was a regular position player. He'll throw his breaking stuff like he just did. He's no easy out. No balls, 2 strikes. And Wood up the middle. Going to be a tough play. Got to hurry. Segura bobbles. So that'll be an infield hit. He put the bat on the ball, and now the Cubs have 2 on, and the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, once the ball got by Marco Estrada, it was going to be a difficult play for Segura. Wasn't hit hard at all. Right off the end of the bat. Marco going after with the bare hand. He pulls the hand back. It's a good idea. You don't want to do that. Don't grab it with the bare hand, Marco. Let it go and hope that Segura can make a play. But as you mentioned, Wood runs well. He runs down the line like a position player.
He's a guy the Cubs have used as a pinch runner, pinch hitter in the past. So 2 on. Here's Bonifacio, and a bouncing ball. Weeks is over. He can't make the play. Bounces away from him. A run's going to score as Olt is in. And a couple of seeing eye ground balls have produced the first Cubs run.
A couple of infield hits. Bonifacio picking on the first pitch, an off-speed pitch. Just out of the reach of Ricky. He got there, but right off the thumb of the glove, and Ricky has to get up and get it. So 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and a run in. And now the tough part of this lineup coming up.
6-1 Milwaukee. RBI infield hit for Bonifacio, his 13th ribby. And it'll be Junior Lake now. We were talking about Dale Swaim a minute ago, getting let go by the Cubs last year. He went to the Royals as the third base coach, but then yesterday he was the hitting coach. Royals fired their hitting coach. Swaim took over. There's a bouncer to third. Reynolds dives, throws to second, and it's in time. Close play at second base. And this one might be challenged here. We'll see. Now the run's going to score regardless.
Let's see if Rick Renteria goes out. Everything, the Cubs are finding holes in that infield. Can't tell right there because the umpire's blocking the view. Doesn't look like Renteria's coming out though. I'll tell you, that's about as bang bang as it gets. I'm surprised he's not going out. Why not?
Well, and Estrada's on the rubbers, so it's too late now.
I can't imagine why he wouldn't just go out there and have his team look at it in the clubhouse, and that might have been overturned.
I'm telling you, and think about it, a run in, if he's safe there, it's first and second with nobody out, and your 3-hole hitter coming up.
And the way this inning has gone and the way the score is, I mean, that could be your best opportunity to really make a difference in the game right here.
Lake will get credit for an RBI. Bonifacio out on the fielder's choice. And a bouncer that is a fair ball. And that ball was touched by a fan. So the ball is dead. And Lake will end up at third base. It's going to be a double for Luis Valbuena.
Well, Cubs are right back in it. Just like that. A lot of ground balls, a lot of seeing eye ground balls, just like that last one. Right down the line, right over the bag at first. Not reviewable. Looked like it was clearly fair, and the fan touches it. Had he not touched it, it probably would have been a run for the Cubs.
And now Estrada really going to have to go to work here. Well, you don't want to give this back this quickly. 2 runs are in on 3 hits. Inning started with a walk and then an infield hit by the pitcher. And 2 infield hits and a double, and now Starlin Castro. And Estrada drops one in for a strike, an off-speed pitch.
Hey, just go back to that close play at second base and why the Cubs didn't ask for a review. I mean, that could have been a run. Still nobody out. Don't get it.
Put a fastball by him. 0-2 the count. Now here's the play we're talking about. And foot down. Wow, I tell you what.
I know that's
a mistake.
That's pretty bang. I mean, as close as it was, it's just amazing that Renteria didn't go out there and ask for, at least have his guys look at it in the clubhouse.
He got him. Unable to check his swing. Rung up by Angel Campos. And Castro strikes out with runners at second and third. That's the second out of the inning, and a big one for Estrada.
Well, you don't see that happen with Castro all that much. I mean, this guy's about as good a hitter as it gets with men on base. Tried to check his swing, couldn't do it, and that's a big out for Estrada.
Here's Ruggiano now. Ruggiano just getting back in the lineup. He missed over a month with a hamstring injury. 32-year-old outfielder. Good block back there by Maldonado.
This is the guy you want right here. You got Marco's nemesis is on deck.
Yeah, the last guy you'd want at the plate representing the tying run here in the third inning. 2 in for the Cubs, 2 outs. And a 2-0 from Estrada is lined right field, slicing foul. 2-1. 2-2. Fastball from Estrada.
Nice pitch right on the outside corner. Can't do much with that pitch. Well, you got the count even now. How about the changeup? Marco struggled with the changeup tonight once again.
See what he has in mind here. Second and third. Another big hitter early for Estrada. Came back to the fastball, and Ruggiano fouls it away.
Living dangerous with that high fastball at 89 miles an hour.
A high ball, fly ball pitcher in a home run friendly ballpark. But Estrada has made it work over the years. 2-2, drops in outside. Not by much.
Marco usually gets swings on that pitch.
A pitch of action. Full count, 2 outs. Ruggiano rolls over one. Coming in, Reynolds got a nice easy hop. Nice easy throw, and the inning is over. But the Cubs score twice. It's 6-2 Brewers. With the Cubs, the Brewers are up 6-2 as we head to the bottom of the third, and our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery had a couple of occasions where the Brewers on their horse from first base. Gomez scoring on the Davis double in the first inning. And then Marty Maldonado with 2 outs. He doubled in the right center field gap. Ricky Weeks comes all the way around from first. And freaky fast, the Brewers put 5 on the board in that first inning. They lead 6-2 as we go to the third. And Weeks will start it for Milwaukee. Cubs getting 2 in the top of this inning. RBIs from Bonifacio and Lake. Full schedule of games tonight, including the civil rights game in Houston tonight. Astros hosting the Baltimore Orioles. That's 1-0 Orioles. Baltimore lost yesterday after the Brewers put a series win on them, winning the last 2 games in that series. Cardinals lost last night. Reds lost last night. And the Pirates actually won last night. So the Brewers up 3 games over St. Louis to start the day. Weeks into right center field. That's going to drop. Base hit. Ricky on his way to second. A double for Weeks. He's 2 for 2 tonight. A leadoff 2-bagger for the Brewers.
Well, if you like offense, Miller Park is the place for you tonight. Another high pitch. some kind of an off-speed pitch, and that one stays right up out over the plate. And Ricky able to hammer it out there into the gap. Boy, the Brewers' approach has been pretty good. Off-speed. They're taking it into right center. All right-handed batters for the Brewers tonight. And Travis Wood having a rough time out there. 9 hits already for the Brewers. And nobody out in the 3rd inning.
And here is Mark Reynolds. Cubs have a few changes defensively with Bonifacio at second base tonight and Holt over at first base instead of Anthony Rizzo. Cubs defense brought to you by Menards. Been a pretty good group on defense this year for the Cubs.
Yeah, about middle of the pack in team defense in the National League, and defense really hasn't been their issue. It's really been offense. Their starting pitching's been pretty good. Bullpen up and down like most bullpens are. Rick Renteria just trying to figure out a way to score some runs. Got 2 in the 3rd inning.
And Reynolds down on strikes. Wood has punched him out twice. Travis Wood actually struck out 3 in the 1st inning and now has 4 for the game.
Yeah, both times on pitches right there, up out over the plate. And Reynolds swings right through him.
Got to bring up Maldonado. Weeks ready to run at second. Maldonado with a double and an RBI his last time up. Swinging away at that first pitch breaking ball from Wood. The Brewers haven't been hanging around long in their at bats so far tonight. They have 9 hits on the board and haven't seen many pitches in each at bat.
Getting good pitches to hit early on. Pitches up out over the plate. That's what you look for.
And Maldonado to right, a base hit. Weeks, and he's going to try to score. Here comes the throw from right, and he's in there. Maldonado to second. Weeks scores the run. 7-2.
Good job by Ed Cedar realizing that the pitcher is coming up. Takes a chance running on Shearholtz, who has a pretty good arm out there in right field. Pretty good throw up the line just a bit. How about the approach right there for Martin Maldonado when the pitch down and away. If this throw is right on the plate, Ricky's an out. But up toward the line, and Ricky able to score run number 7.
Tough short hop for the catcher Castillo to handle. And Weeks is in. 7-2. That's a great point about Estrada coming up too. Third base coaches are usually most aggressive when the pitcher is coming up next. You take your chances.
Got to know the game situation. Ed Cedar certainly does, and able to score the run.
Maldonado advances on the throw all the way through. And Estrada, that's backhanded at second by Bonifacio. The second out, but Maldonado advances. 2 gone, top of the order coming up. Say it's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag WisFanPhoto. You'll have a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's all courtesy of AT&T. And Rick Renteria is on his way out to the mound with 2 outs.
Got the hook.
And a runner at third, and
Wow.
Wood is out.
Kidding me?
In a 7-2 game, Renteria removes his starting pitcher. 3 innings. And Rick Renteria out with the hook, takes Travis Wood out. Our Carsoup.com trivia question: who was the last person in Cubs franchise history to be a player manager? And we'll let you sit on that one for a little bit. I'll give you a hint. It goes back to 1962. Carlos Villanueva out of the Cubs bullpen with 2 outs and a runner at third in the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, he was a starter early in the season, was moved back into the bullpen on May 3rd and has been flourishing out of the bullpen. In 4 relief appearances, has a 1.80 earned run average. Overall 7.33. Had a rough time as a starting pitcher. And the opponent batting average almost at 400 for Carlos, the former Brewer.
Tough night for the lefty Travis Wood. 2 2/3 innings, 10 hits allowed, 7 runs all earned at this point. Still has 1 out there that belongs to him. A walk and 4 strikeouts. And 9 straight games with double-digit hit totals for the Brewers, and they get there quickly tonight. Segura is 1 for 2. Infield hit, scored a run in the first inning. And a shot to third from the seat of his pants. Valbuena makes the play to end the inning. Brewers score again. They lead 7-2 as we go to the 4th.
A 7-2 lead over the Cubs, and the Brewers Community Foundation and Doug and Ellen Melvin join Northwestern Mutual as sponsors of the Wisconsin Breast Cancer Show House. Tours run May 31st through June 15th, and all proceeds will support breast cancer and prostate cancer research at the Medical College of Wisconsin. The designers have done amazing work for a great cause, so you can go to the breastcancershowhouse.org and enjoy touring the home.
All right, Sophia, thanks. And we are on our way to the 4th inning. And the Brewers putting up the big numbers offensively to start. 7 runs on the board. 10 hits for the Brewers. Cubs have 2 on the board with 3 hits. Scored both of those runs last inning as Wellington Castillo will bat for Chicago. Marco Estrada deals the first pitch. Castillo takes a strike. Bit of a change in the Brewers defense tonight with the left-handed starter Wood on the mound. Ricky Weeks got the call at second base. He's responded with 2 hits. Something we saw a little bit of last year. Jonathan Lucroy over at first base. And that has been a trend lately.
Yeah, against lefties to keep his bat in the lineup. That might change when Ramirez comes back. He might get Lucroy some off time.
And Lucroy is going to have a chance to make this play. He's handled himself pretty well over at first base. For more on that, we check in with Sophia.
Yeah, BA, after making his debut at first base last season, he's now making his 5th start at first here today, and said, you know, he feels a lot more comfortable certainly than what he did last year. Said he's used to obviously blocking balls from behind the plate, but now the toughest part for him, he said, is just figuring out kind of that no man's land between he and Ricky Weeks, of plays where he has to range over. It says he has to visualize where he thinks the ball is going to come and anticipate the position that he needs to put himself in, but said he's feeling more comfortable every time that he's out there.
And that's the last bit for Lucroy, right, Rock? You played a lot of first base, you know, catcher first base combo, and there were a couple of ground balls on the last road trip where he got caught in no man's land a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing, especially with the way they're shifting these days. I mean, the conventional defense, you could throw that out the window. I mean, you pretty much know based on, you know, whether you're a left-hander or right-hander where the second baseman is going to be, but you really can't anticipate that these days. You got a straightaway defensive alignment for Nate Scherholtz right here, and that's unusual.
Off the end of the bat, that'll be a base hit for Scherholtz. So a 1-out single.
The one thing you like about Lucroy, I mean, if you're uncomfortable at first base, your first move normally is going to be right to first base. You don't want to get caught not being able to get back, but he is ranging a little bit into the hole, which is a good sign that he's feeling a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, seems like his instinct is to go after the ball. His first move is to find the baseball. When he first started playing first base last year, he had no work in spring training, really, you know, other than before games, just trying to crash course. First few ground balls he got, he ended up blocking those ground balls like a catcher.
You can do that, but you don't have a mask. That's the problem.
That's right.
You know, and if you know that, and you Marco Estrada or a starting pitcher, you know you have an inexperienced first baseman that might get off the bag a little bit too much and not be able to get back. What does that tell you right away? You better get to first base on a ball hit to the right side.
Yeah, Garza did that once. Had to hustle over there. Those guys are being told that. They know that. As Old takes a strike, a breaking ball. Well, this is the ideal setup for a Marco Estrada game. He's a fly ball pitcher, so you're limiting the ground ball opportunities. So you have Weeks and Lucroy on the right side of that infield.
Problem is, in the third inning, it was nothing but ground balls that found holes.
That's right.
And that's unusual with Estrada on the mound.
Yeah, the Cubs had 2 infield hits, had a double. That just snuck past the bag at first. Defensive swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mike Olt. He started the 2-run third inning with a walk. Seven to 2 Brewers. Popped him up. Lucroy will give it a look. That's going to be in the seats. Got him chasing a little bit. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Olt's still a young guy. He's only 25. He did get a little big league time with the Rangers 2 years ago before a lot of his vision problems set in.
Yep, just a little bit down in the strike zone. I guess Fox Tracks had it pretty good.
Got to respect the power of Holt. A low batting average, but very productive. And that misses. Now it's 3-2.
Marco's having a tough time with that changeup once again tonight. Not just finding the strike zone, but getting swings on it. That's ordinarily an automatic for Estrada, getting at least a swing on that pitch. It's so tough to pick up. Cubs haven't had any problems laying off of it tonight.
Full count, runner at first is Scherholtz. And Holt doesn't bite. And there's another walk. He's walked him twice. Third walk issued by Estrada. And a big deep breath by Reneke, knowing that the Cubs are a swing away from tightening this up quickly. You do have the pitcher coming up now, and Carlos Villanueva.
Marco had a they had some side sessions between starts. He had an extra day to prepare for this start. He had actually a couple of extra days. He was supposed to start on Wednesday. They gave that start to Gallardo, so he's a little bit out of his normal routine with a couple of days. So not sure how much that's going to affect him, but he did make some adjustments before his last start, slowing himself down just a little bit, but it seemed to work pretty well until the end. Just having a tough time with his mechanics again tonight.
The pitcher Villanueva up there to bunt and pulls it back, takes a strike. There was a day when Villanueva was a Brewer. He tried switch hitting one year. He promised he was an effective left-handed hitting, and his poor hitting off the right side was due to the fact it was the wrong side. And then I think he went 0 for about 20 from the left side, and then they would say, you're going to hit right-handed from here
so
on
I guess
out.
it didn't matter what did it.
If you're going to be a bad hitter, you might as well protect your right arm.
Right.
That was back when Villanueva was starting games. That's a good bunt, and Reynolds' only play is first. Villanueva gets the sacrifice down. Second and third for the Cubs. Now 2 outs as they go back to the top of the order.
Hey, at Miller Park, Friday the 13th is your lucky day. All fans in attendance to see the Brewers take on the Reds. It's Friday, June 13th. They'll get a Brewers retro T-shirt, courtesy of Husco International. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 to go to Brewers.com today.
Cool shirts. Caitlin Moyer gave us a couple of these shirts, courtesy of Husco International. I like them. Nice swing and a miss by Bonifacio. See, it's kind of the throwback logo, right?
Yeah, nice, real nice.
I like that. I got you a double X.
That's my size.
Let's just hope it doesn't shrink.
I don't apologize for it. They have extra smalls.
Center field for Gomez. Estrada walking off the mound, and he gets through it, stranding 2 Cubs. 7-2 Brewers. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Chicago Cubs, the I-94 rivalry. Carsoup.com trivia question. The last person in Cubs franchise history to be a player manager. And you got to go back to the 1962 season. 35-year-old Elvin Tappy from Quincy, Illinois, was a player manager with the Cubs in '62. The last player manager in the major leagues was Pete Rose, 1986 season. And we came to this trivia question tonight with the news that Manny Ramirez will return as a player coach. He's not a manager, but he's a coach in the Cubs minor league system. So Theo Epstein,
how about that, huh?
Those two are together with the Boston Red Sox. And Manny Ramirez insists he is a new man, a changed man. He's been on a spiritual change. He said he's been going to church the last few years, and he wants to try to give back to the game, and he's going to go to Des Moines, Iowa to be a hitting coach. How about that?
So Manny's not Manny anymore?
That's what he said.
That's unfortunate.
Manny's the new Manny. He's saying all the right things
I
for
like
now.
the old Manny. he was entertaining.
He was the more entertaining, right?
So a player coach. There you go.
Yep, player coach with the AAA farm club of the Chicago Cubs, the Iowa Cubs in Des Moines. Not exactly Manny Wood, but he's excited about the chance. Ramirez was at a function with the Boston Red Sox. I believe that was yesterday. And that's where a lot of those comments came out. So everybody I've talked to about Manny Ramirez, including Dale Swaim, says he's one of the smartest hitting guys that he was ever around. The guy was a relentless worker. He did the scouting. I mean, he had his whole thing
right
as Manny being Manny, but as far as the mechanics of hitting, he gets high praise for that, and I think that's what Theo Epstein is hoping to get out of him to pass along to the minor leaguers.
Yeah, well, Dale was with him with the Red Sox. Dale was the third base coach. Manny Ramirez, obviously, a key component to that lineup, and he said the way he approached hitting was unlike most. I mean, he was very consistent in his approach. And the way he stayed back and drove the ball into right field. That'll be good for young players to be around, as long as Manny is the guy that he says he's going to be. I mean, a good influence.
Yeah, he even apologized to Red Sox fans about the way he acted when he was a member of the Red Sox, even though he was an electrifying player. Braun, slow roller coming in. Valbuena makes the play for the out. And Braun is retired.
I'll tell you, Valbuena can pick it. He really can. I mean, he's always been a guy that can flash the leather over at third base. That play he made to end the third inning for the Brewers was a good one. Right off from the seat of his pants, able to make the play and get up and get the out. And this time he comes in on a chopper by Ryan Braun.
Valbuena has played a little second base this year as well. Had a little bit of a revolving door at second and third and center field. Here's Lucroy now. Infield hit for Lucroy in the second. Hit one on the hole between third and short. Castro dove for it and couldn't get the handle to throw him out. And Lucroy, a little jam shot over to first. Olt in foul territory. Out number 2.
Hey, tonight's time of the game winner. I think it's Chusak's Pub in Marinette. You see the way it's spelled? I'm going to say Chusak's. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin. And Miller Lite, if I pronounce it incorrectly, all the folks at Chusak's, I apologize.
I think you're right on the money. You got pub right.
And Marinette.
We welcome them all watching the ball game tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Tonight's game being produced by Brad Weimer, directed by Mark Vittorio. Gomez takes a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carlos Gomez. Walked and scored in the first. Singled in a run in the second. 31 runs batted in now for Gomez. That leads the club.
Carlos able to get a fastball by Gomez. That was right down the middle of the plate. You know, being a waiver, if you don't remember about Carlos, a lot of off-speed pitches. Very good changeup. He'll throw a slider and a curveball and only uses his fastball when he has to. But got that one by Gomez at about 90 miles an hour.
Very similar in repertoire to Marco Estrada. And a swing and a miss. Got him to chase a fastball at 90 miles an hour. And a 3 up, 3 down for the first time tonight for the Cubs pitchers. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. What a beautiful night in Brewtown tonight. Roof is open, lights are up. And we head to the 5th inning. The Cubs and the Brewers, first game of this series. 7-2 Milwaukee. A 5-run first for the Brewers. And we saw Ryan Braun go deep for the first time here at Miller Park in over a year. 10 hits already for the Brew Crew. Marco Estrada giving up 2 runs in the 3rd inning on 3 Cubs hits. Facing Junior Lake, Luis Valbuena, and Starlin Castro to start this 5th inning. There's a fastball strike. 1-2 the count on Lake.
Perfect pitch right on that outside corner. It's all about mechanics for Marco. Keeping that delivery very consistent. You would think it would be pretty easy for Marco Estrada to be consistent with his delivery, as slow paced as it is, his windup. But he says he was rushing that, even at as deliberate as he is with his windup. Before his last start, he said he was rushing himself a little bit. Hard to believe, but he was.
Well, he has pitched his way into a very good back into the rotation pitcher. As Lake takes a ball away. There was a time there when Estrada looked like his career was coming to an end. Taken off the Brewers roster. He was simply a minor league player. He accepted a deal, a minor league contract with the Brewers. as he walks Junior Lake, and that's another leadoff walk. Boy, that has been a problem for Estrada. With a big lead, he has walked 3 batters to start an inning.
Yeah, 3 walks to that was in the 2nd, 3rd, and now the 5th. But he's walked batters in every inning except the 1st. Unusual for Estrada.
Talked about Estrada with very good command, averaging less than 2 walks per start. 4 tonight. Valbuena takes a strike.
The thing that's a mystery with Estrada tonight is the Cubs are not chasing his changeup. Ordinarily, that changeup down in the strike zone, teams are going to flail away at that pitch normally, but Chicago's laid off it tonight. And Marco's not been able to throw it for strikes.
Valbuena doubled his last time up. Estrada with a man at first, pitching from the stretch, and he misses outside. 2-1. Missed with a changeup. Maldonado is on his way.
It has been a grind out there for Marco tonight, except for the 1st inning. Actually, first 2 innings not too bad, but boy, since that time it has been a lot of pitches and working behind an account quite a bit.
2-1 to Valbuena. Left-handed hitting infielder tonight, getting the start at 3rd base. And there goes Lake, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Fouled off. I beg your pardon. Fouled away.
Have to go back.
Lake on his way to first.
Yeah, Lake had a tremendous jump. Had Valbuena laid off that pitch, although it was a pretty good pitch to hit. Maldonado, fortunate, didn't keep it in the glove. That would have been a stolen base easily.
Two and two to count with a runner at first. There he goes again, and a swing and a foul ball. If you've been following the Brewers since 2010, Marco Estrada, you might remember, came to the big leagues. He actually got a start. Didn't pitch all that well in 2010. Was taken off the Brewers roster, but re-signed with the Brewers. And then when Zach Greinke was injured in 2011, that broken rib, Estrada was called upon in spring training. There's a called strike three. Valbuena is out. Lake started, then stopped. And a strikeout for Marco.
Little distracting for the hitter. You know, Junior Lake bouncing around out there. They're down by 5 runs. Either go or don't. He starts, he stops, and I think Valbuena thought it might have been out off the outside corner. Jordan Baker, all 6'7" of him, rings him up. The tallest umpire in Major League history.
That's right. There's a line drive to right, base hit. Starlin Castro singles. And here come the Cubs again. Cubs have had a base runner in the last 3 innings, and they've had multiple base runners in the last 3 innings as well. Or I should say base runners the last 4 innings. One out, 2 on for Ruggiano. Ruggiano fouls it away. Closing up the roof at Miller Park. Almost sealed up tight.
Expecting rain tonight?
I think it's cool temperatures.
Is it?
I don't think there's any rain tonight, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is raining. Either way, we got you covered. Literally. The 1-1. And it goes to 1-2. Ruggiano 0 for 2. He hit a ground ball last time up. Little tapper to third. And a changeup missed. Close. Didn't get the call, and it's 2-2 now.
Didn't get the call and didn't get a swing. We're nearly going to get swings on that. That's the amazing thing about this start for me, with Marco and his offense for the Cubs. It's almost like they know it's coming.
Yep. Maybe something is tipping it off. You never know. I'm always amazed by major league players, coaches. Ron Renicky always had that reputation when he was a coach, a third base coach with the Angels, about picking up the little nuances that might indicate whether the pitch is going to be an off speed or, you know, just like the flange of a glove or the way the finger would come up. All these little details.
Doesn't take much. Just one little thing and you give it away.
2-2. Ruggiano takes a ball. Now the count goes full. Marco Estrada is walking the fine line here against the Cubs tonight. They have been one swing away from tightening up this game ever since the third inning. 2 on, 1 out, full count. In the air to center field. Gomez going back with room. Lake's going to tag. Both runners are going to tag, as a matter of fact, and they both hold up.
I'd say, look how deep Gomez is, and Lake, who's got pretty good speed, didn't even think about it. Talk about respecting a throwing arm. Wow. I mean, I would have thought that Lake, all the running he was doing, he's trying to steal bases down by 5 runs. Didn't even try to get into third base. That's a great base running mistake right there. There's no way Carlos can throw him out from that deep into center field, and the throw's coming into second base. That's just bad base running.
And that's the way it's gone for the Cubs this year. Gomez made the right throw, thinking that Lake would take third. He'll try to keep another runner out of scoring position. So 2 outs. First and second. Here is Castillo. Sweeping curveball in there for strike 1. 0 for 2 tonight, both in the air. Estrada's given up 5 hits and 4 walks. Has 4 strikeouts. 0-2.
He's keeping a fastball in on his hands tonight. In on his hands and up in the strike zone. It's changeups that Castillo has been hitting out of the ballpark on Estrada. Changeups and fastballs out away from him.
Oh-2 pitch on the way, and a swing and a miss. He struck him out. He got him with a changeup that time. Finally got a Cub hitter to chase one. 5 Ks for Estrada. 7-2 Brewers.
He's now extended his hit streak to 8 games with a double in the first. And Ron Renneke, talking about the adjustments that Chris has made with his swing, said he had a conversation with Chris and mentioned Cal Ripken. He said that Cal was one of the best at making adjustments, to the point where he would name his stance, stance number 45, saying, Chris, that's how many adjustments a hitter like Cal Ripken would make. And he said those are the good hitters are the ones that know how to make the adjustments. And he's obviously very pleased with how Davis is swinging. Said the most encouraging part is that he can make an adjustment, see the results, so that if he struggles, he knows that he can make that adjustment, and he's more adept to listen to those that are trying to coach him through it.
Well, for me, it all comes down, and it's not mechanics and making adjustments, is trusting himself and just staying back. He's got such a quick bat. I mean, he's got lightning quick hands through the strike zone. It really doesn't have to try and get out in front, with the body and the hands. When he stays back, I mean, there are not too many pitchers are going to be able to jam him. I mean, if he takes that good approach, and he certainly has done that as of late. It's been the last week or so where he's just driving the baseball into the opposite field. And when he continues to do that, if he does that continually, he's going to get pitches to pull and hit out of the ballpark to left, like he did on Wednesday.
Now you think back to a couple of those line drives to right field. He hit a couple over the head of Giancarlo Stanton in Miami. And you said at the time, when he starts driving the ball to the opposite field like that, look out. He's about ready to get hot, and that's exactly what has happened. He's homered in his last 3 games. Sitting on 9 home runs for the season with 22 driven in, and that ball's hit well to left. Got some topspin on it, and it's off the base of the wall. And Davis on his way to second with a double. 2 more hits tonight. Both of them extra base hits.
And you might say to yourself, well, you said he's been thinking the opposite field. And that was a changeup up and in. And the only way you're going to be able to keep that ball fair is if you stay back, you think center field, and your hands are going to be quick enough to be able to get the bat head out. You see the way he keeps his hands inside the baseball. It's the only way you're going to keep that ball fair. If you jump out and you get the barrel of the bat too far out in front, you're just going to hit that foul somewhere. Just a different kind of hitter right now than he was early in the season.
Renneke pushed him into the 5 spot in the order. He's responded with 2 doubles at the plate presented by Wendy's. Ricky Weeks is 2 for 2. A single and a double. He scored twice, drove in a run. Weeks chasing one in the dirt against his old teammate Carlos Villanueva. I remember when Villanueva was with the Brewers, and the first year that Gallardo came to the Brewers, Villanueva had come up the year before in 06, and then Gallardo in 07, and the debate was who had the better changeup, Villanueva or Gallardo. Having watched Giovanni Gallardo over the last 5 or 6 years now, since he kind of ditched that changeup, you wouldn't think about that. There's a sharply hit ground ball through, base hit. Here comes Davis, and Ricky Weeks drives in another one. An RBI single for Weeks, his 3rd hit of the night, his 2nd RBI, and the Brewers lead 8-2.
And everything up into center field. Ricky is seeing it well tonight. Another 2-strike base hit for an RBI. Got one in the 1st inning. And this one just out of the reach of Castillo and into center field. No chance for Lake in center field. The Brewers have their hitting shoes on again. 12 hits and 8 runs.
And we're only in the 5th, and nobody out in the 5th inning. A double and a single to start it. 8-2 Milwaukee. And here's the only position player without a hit in his first 2 tries, Mark Reynolds. Everybody else is on the board. Popped him up. Right center. Sure holds calls. And there is out number 1. As promised earlier in the broadcast, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. It's brought to you by AT&T, of course, and we got one from Autumn. She's saying, oh, that was the Chris Davis picture for prom. Brought her down onto the field, took a photograph. Don't forget, you can send your photos in. Use the hashtag #WisFanPhoto. Have a chance to put them on the air. It's timely with the hot streak of Chris Davis. Maybe the Good Samaritan work that he did led to the hot streak.
Yeah, I thought you meant that the photo was from like October and November.
Oh, from Autumn.
Yeah. I didn't know it was the name. I'm sorry.
That's her name. Seasonal names.
I like that that sponsorship there, the WIS fan photo of the game.
Yeah. What do you like about it, Rock?
Just seeing different people have a good time at Miller Park. It's got to be at Miller Park pretty much, doesn't it? Unless it's an animal.
Pretty much. We had some good animal shots with Brewers gear on. A lot of dog shots with Brewer hats and such.
And such.
We have a power rankings on the WIS fan photo, by the way. Baby's still number 1. The O baby
doesn't count.
I would disagree with that.
It doesn't count. It wasn't a picture that was sent in via Twitter.
WIS fan photo number 1 is the O baby. How about the iguana with the helmet on?
No,
is that your number 1?
Yep, not a horse.
Oh, the horse with the hat. Why the long face?
Because the baby picture is disqualified.
Oh, you feeling like that's a plan?
It is, yeah.
That's just a moment that we had.
Because you asked for it.
I see.
Yeah, I get it. If you want to count it, you can.
You count it as a moment, but not an AT&T moment.
Wasn't part of the promotion.
I wouldn't mind stepping up the creativity a little bit on the pictures, though. Just keep it clean. That's all we ask.
Costumes, maybe.
Yeah.
Comic-Con stuff, perhaps.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Is that coming up, the Comic-Con?
I couldn't tell you.
July 23rd, I think it is. We'll have a few attending that event on our crew. And we hope to get them back. Good night from Maldonado tonight. 2 hits, 2 RBIs. That one's in the air to left center, and that's down a base hit. Weeks on his way to third. Here comes the throw, and it's late, and Maldonado keeps it going. He's got 3 hits tonight. First and third with 1 out.
Well, you shake up the lineup a little bit. You got Ricky Weeks in there against a left-hander, and Maldonado, because you put Lucroy at first. All these guys have gone 6 for 6 with 4 RBIs tonight in the 6 and 8 spots in the batting order. Wow.
Ricky Weeks with 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Now Maldonado with 3 hits. 13 hits total for the Brew Crew. Here is Estrada with runners at the corners and 1 out. Marco's all business up there at the plate right now. Still waiting on his first hit of the year. Shows bunt, and the squeeze is on. Weeks scores. Estrada is out, and the Brewers tack on 1 more. A safety squeeze. Estrada just looking to advance Maldonado, but Weeks able to come in.
Well done by Marco. Butted a little bit too strong, but out of the reach of Villanueva, the pitcher, and Ricky Weeks able to read the baseball off the bat and score easily, and Marco almost got himself a base hit. So everything going the way of the Brewers tonight. Even a bunt that is a little bit too hard is put in a pretty good spot, and Ricky able to score.
Nine to 2 Brewers. 2 runs in here in the 5th. Got a runner at second with 2 outs. Here is Segura back to the top of the order. Look out, high and tight. Is there an etiquette discussion with a pitcher bunting with runners at first and third in the 5th inning?
Absolutely not.
So that one just got away from him.
No, it's, you know, all these unwritten rules that there used to be back in the old days, you can forget about all of them. You know, the way this game is going, you know, the Cubs have been up the last few innings. One swing of the bat, they're right back in the game. I mean, I can't believe that the Cubs would be upset about a bunt by Estrada to score a run to make it a 7-run game. No.
Ball and a strike on Segura. He's got Maldonado at second, an RBI chance for him, and a bouncing ball up the middle and a base hit. Maldonado coming home, the throw to the plate. It's short. Maldonado scores. 10-2 Brewers. Gene Segura with an RBI single.
Just finding every hole you can find in that infield. The Brewers are just rolling right now with 14 hits, 10 runs, and another base hit by Segura. And Martin Maldonado able to score from second base. Wow. Now you ask if Aramis Ramirez is going to be putting that number 4 spot when he comes back. I doubt it. Not right away. This offense is got some pretty good chemistry right now. And just think about what it could be if you add that guy.
It won't be long now for Ramirez. 10 runs on 14 hits. 10-2 Brewers in the 5th. Braun chases the first offering, a foul ball in the seats. All of the scoring tonight started by that guy. 2-run homer in the first inning, Ryan Braun. And on the Powerball home run leaderboard, Braun now with 8. His first at Miller Park. Mark Reynolds still sets the pace for the Brew Crew at 12.
Yeah, Brewers 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight. So they're getting the long ball and they're getting timely hitting.
Segura at second, and Braun lays off. The 10 runs matches a season high for the Brewers this year. Only one other time have they scored more than 9 runs. Had a 10-run game against Philadelphia. That was in Philly. I think that was the Ryan Braun 3-home run game. It's the 1-1. Down and in. Has a chance to be one of those nights for the Brewers when you have to rewrite the press notes. The season superlatives. Most hits in a game, 19. Brewers did that at Fenway Park on April 5th. As Braun lines one to left, another base hit. Here comes Segura. The throw comes in, cut off. Segura scores. Braun is out at first, but the run counts, and the inning is over. And they may challenge it. Hold up just a moment. Stop the band. They're going to take a look at it, possibly. Renicky just taking a look. Could go to replay. Segura scores the run regardless of the out at first.
Yeah, he's safe. Looked safe there, didn't he?
Braun making his own call. What's the old unwritten rule book say about challenges up 11-2, Rock?
I don't know. It's all new this year.
Well, we have a delay here. And I believe Renicky has decided not to challenge.
I don't even think he looked in, did he?
We'll move on. Grounds crew on their way out to clean it all up. It's 11-2 as we go to the 6th.
Ballpark, except for Cubs fans, at least at this point. 11-2 Brewers. Hey, book your tickets to see Carlos Gomez, Ryan Braun, and the rest of the Red Hot Brew crew take on the Cincinnati Reds Friday, June 13th through Sunday the 15th in an NL Central batter at Miller Park. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com today. Those are going to be the only 3 home games for the Brewers in quite some time.
Yeah.
After Tuesday's game against Minnesota, out on the road. Only back for 3 and then right back out for a 7-game road trip. 16 of 19. The Brewers are going to be away from Miller Park, so check out the Reds.
Yeah, Brewers needing to take care of business here at Miller Park before they embark on what will be a long and winding road. But that schedule then starts to turn in their favor after that as we get into late June and July. 11-2, the Brewers bringing out the whooping sticks tonight. 15 hits already for Milwaukee. And Marco Estrada enjoying every bit of it. He's given up 2 runs. Those came in the 3rd inning. Has had a lot of base runners to deal with tonight, but Marco's been able to get through them. The Brewers have a 5-run inning tonight. That was the first, and a 4-run inning.
And as much as Marco has struggled in the last 3 innings, still's only given up 2 runs.
Nate Scherholtz in a 1-2 count. And Marco misses up high.
Having a good time with that new glove of yours?
You know, I was just about to say that. I am enjoying this new glove. After watching you with your new glove and me with no glove, I finally got one today. I've been wanting one of these things. Scherholtz sends one deep to right. Way back there. Braun is up and it is gone. So a home run for Scherholtz. 11-3. The second of the year for Nate Scherholtz. Those leadoff batters for Estrada have been a problem tonight.
Yeah, 4 of 6 innings they've been able to reach. 3 times a walk. Here's a changeup, and Schierholtz goes down and gets it. And pretty good at bat right there. Not a bad pitch. Down in the strike zone and just golfs it out of here. Put it in the right spot, right down there and straightaway right.
And the 6th Cub hit. Schierholtz has 2 of them. And here's Mike Old, who has walked twice. Braun taking a shot. He'll get better climbing those walls in right field. That's the last part of his indoctrination to right field. He's been working at it, though.
That's a chain link fence out there. A little bit easier to get up and take away a home run.
That's one of the really cool parts of Miller Park, I think. The 8-foot wall out there. You see a lot of home runs pulled back. Braun certainly has the hops to reach up there and bring one back. The fence did not used to go all the way where it is now. It used to go back toward that wall. Then they brought the fences in to create that party zone out there, now called the ATI zone. High fly ball to Braun and right. And there is the first out. So Olt is retired. Yeah, our buddy Ed Alf of Spider Sports. See, Rock's had his glove all year, and I've been a little jealous, but mine's bigger. It's got to be the coolest glove. I've never had a glove with my name on it. I know you have because you're a big leaguer. But these are really cool. This is a company out of Oconomowoc, Spiders.
Yeah, nice stuff.
I love it.
You did enough whining for the last month and a half and finally got you one.
Nothing like the smell of leather.
What was that you were saying about the squeaky wheel?
Gets the grease, Rock. Now we can go have a catch.
Go play catch? I'm feeling pretty good. Mom's feeling good. Hadn't thrown in a couple years.
Yep, I've had 600 days off. I'm ready to go again.
Actually, that's not true. I throw a lot in fantasy camp. So
that's
it's
true.
Been, since February.
I have not thrown a baseball since my 12-inning outing in fantasy camp when Jerry Augustine just kept rolling me out there. He didn't really ask me if I was okay. He just said, "You're fine, right?"
And you, the gamer, just said yes. You went out there, right?
It was a pure adrenaline, you know. I mean, when you're pitching in front of that many people at fantasy camp, how many people do you think?
8.
Yeah, like 8 people. I mean, you can't help but just feed off the energy of the crowd there. The lazy fly ball. Braun is coming in, and he'll make the catch.
How'd you feel the next day?
Oh my gosh! And the day after that, and the weeks after that, and I still have a bad hamstring after that.
And you still have scar tissue in the shoulder.
That was such a bad idea. But that's what fantasy camp is all about. By the way, when is fantasy camp this year?
Yeah, 18th of January. Say we're starting to get a lot of registrations in. I mean, it gets earlier and earlier every year.
Well, spots run out fast, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do.
Any updates on fantasy camp coaches?
Matter of fact, Chris Bosio just confirmed.
Oh, a Cubs coach coming to Brewers fantasy
I
camp.
always consider Boz to be a Brewer.
Yeah.
Cecil's going to be coming back, and Jerry Augustine. What would I do without Jerry down there? And there's word that guys like Jason Kendall, John Jaha are going to be at fantasy camp.
Now that would be something.
Jim Gantner, of course. Greg Vaughn. I think Hambone's coming. Darryl Hamilton.
All right. That's a nice group. Where do I sign up, Rock?
Brewers.com/fantasy camp.
Oh yeah.
Well done. Are you coming back?
No, I don't think my body can handle it.
I don't think it's your body that's
I'm
keeping
into
you
the
from
leisure
camp.
sports.
I think it's your body that's keeping you. I think it's the wife.
Bonifacio lines out. Inning over. Cubs get a run, but it's 11-3 Milwaukee. Big night offensively. We take you through the order 1 through 9. Segura, Braun, then Jonathan Lucroy. Braun has 3 hits, by the way. Carlos Gomez has a hit and an RBI. Chris Davis with 2 doubles. Ricky Weeks with 3 hits tonight, including a double. Martin Maldonado with 3 hits and 2 ribbies. And even Marco Estrada doesn't have a hit, but he has a run batted in. 11-3. The Brewers on 15 hits. Highest run output of the season with 11. And you have 3 Brewers with 3 hits tonight. Bottom of the 6th coming up. And a pitching change for the Cubs. Villanueva goes 2 1/3. And Jose Veras coming out. And
looks like he wants to fix the mound.
Yeah, not something. Doesn't like his landing spot, I believe, as the umpires. That's the crew chief there, Jerry Meals, calling out the grounds crew to do some maintenance. Yeah, right where he's landing. So going to have a bit of a delay here until they can get the mound right. Carlos Villanueva goes 2 1/3. 5 hits, 4 earned runs. The starter, Travis Wood, giving up 7 earned runs in 2 2/3. And the 3rd pitcher used tonight. Marco Estrada might be done tonight. We'll see if he goes back out for his 7th. That pitch count right around 100. Well, while we have a moment, good chance to remind you that Major League Baseball is returning to Fox. America's pregame on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Then you can tune into America's pregame weekdays at 5 p.m. Central. To find Fox Sports 1 on your cable and satellite provider, go to foxsports1.com. Got a big day of Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 and Big Fox tomorrow.
It's the kind of attention you get at fantasy camp as well.
Right. Yeah,
you don't like the mound, then we'll come out, pat it down for you, smooth it out.
You're still on the grass.
Well, I found, Jerry Augustine just came into the booth. He was hearing you talking about him ripping them.
My fantasy camp coach.
He told me that you insisted on staying in the game because you were pitching against your buddies.
It's true.
You know, the doctors from Austin.
You know, Rock, sometimes you have to protect the players from themselves.
You do. Not in fantasy camp. You do what you want when you want. So you're lying. You're making Jerry look bad, and he was kind of upset about it.
He's on the Brewers Live postgame show tonight, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to get the last word.
He will. It's good work on the Tampa job. I like cleaned up for Jose Veras. Too bad there's not enough room in here. We could have a catch right now while we're waiting on Veras to get ready. We could get loose.
I have a ball here.
It's a little risky.
I always keep a baseball up here. Just in the event we want to talk about how to hold one. There you go. Well done.
We play catch on camera now while we wait for Jose Veras.
Yeah.
I'll just keep this.
You going to throw it back?
Still hurts.
Yeah, just throw it in there. Thank you. Boys will be boys.
I'm ready.
As Jose Veras gets ready for his 12th appearance this year. Veras recently coming off the disabled list. He was sidelined with an oblique injury. He was on the disabled list or activated from the disabled list on May 14th. So the former Brewer relies heavily on the big breaking pitch. Is on here in the 6th inning.
Began the year as the closer, lost that job. He was just activated prior to the Brewers going to Wrigley Field, former Brewer. And a hard thrower with a big breaking ball. 6th inning. 11-3 Milwaukee. Lucroy, Gomez, and Davis coming up. Little jam shot out to short. And Castro will take care of Lucroy. He was 1 out of 4.
I was asked by the guys in the truck. I mean, it'd be willing to. We could do an instructional down there if you'd be willing to stick around. We can play catch. Maybe talk about the techniques of throwing.
Let's do it. I have a great game to play catch with, which I used to do growing up all the time, and I always thought it helped my accuracy.
Really?
It's baseball's version of 21. You know, you play 21 in basketball. You know.
Where'd you learn that game?
I don't know exactly. We always played it in the backyard as a kid. I think my brother broke it out. But you get 3 points for catching the ball in front of your face. This is for the thrower. 2 points in front of your chest and 1 in the belt. It has to be in the framework of your shoulders. And the first one to 21 wins.
What do you get for a short hop off the chest?
That's a -2. I think after we broke a few windows in the neighbor's house, we had to improve our accuracy.
That's a good game. You should always have something that you're aiming at when you're throwing. Just don't throw randomly. Pick out a spot, aim for it.
Always have a purpose, right?
Always have
whenever
something to throw to.
Whenever you're warming up, the way you throw. I see a lot of kids, first throw they make, they try to throw it as hard as they can, or they throw it sidearm, and it's so bad for your arm. You got to loosen it up. You got to get oiled up first.
Yep, stretch first and do a little bit of light running, get the juices flowing a bit, and start about 50 feet away, and then continue to go back.
All kind of games for the individual skills of baseball. That 21 game for throwing, and a game that I'm afraid is bordering on extinction that I hope comes back is pepper.
Right.
You never see pepper anymore.
It's good for your hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Back control.
You get 3 or 4 guys, you get a baseball. As Gomez chops one over to third base, Valbuena. Nice play. He makes it look easy over there. Good defender. Gomez out number 2. But you get 3 or 4 guys, and you get let's take a look at this play by Valbuena.
Yeah, the only chance for the Cubs to make that play was for Valbuena to take that one on the big hop. One more hop and Gomez would have been safe.
You get the 3 or 4 defenders, and you get about 10-15 feet apart from the batter, and you toss it in there. The batter hits it on the ground. If he hits it in the air and it's caught, the guy who catches it replaces the batter.
And it's good for your back control, because the guy that throws, he hit it to the next guy and so forth and so on. And you work on placing the baseball.
If you get a good rhythm going, you're hitting one hoppers to the fielders. They're getting up throwing, and then that's when you can start having some fun. You fake throw. Some of those great old images of the Gas House Gang and Pepper Martin and how they throw the ball behind their backs. Pepper's a great game. Some reason they painted those signs that said no pepper. They were tearing up the grass.
Yeah.
It's making a comeback as of tonight in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 2-0 to Chris Davis. There's a strike. Davis is 2 for 3, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, has driven in a run. Bouncing ball to Bonifacio. 1-2-3 inning for Jose Veras after he got the mound the way he wants it. We go to the 7th. It'll be Rob Wooten on the mound. By the way, did you see the night of Brad Mills last night? Our Blaine's Farm and Fleet down on the farm. He went 8 innings last night against Colorado Springs. This was in Nashville. He struck out 13, a career high. He's now 4-0 and an ERA of 1.74. Donovan Hand finished that game, and it was a 1 hour and 59-minute game, a 9-inning game.
Oh.
Hour 59. Jeff Bianchi homered in that game. Accepted the assignment to AAA and hit his first homer of the year. So good job, Brad Mills.
Yeah, there's some pretty good minor league performances this year we've been highlighting so far. Well, end of the line for Marco. A bit of a struggle for him, but he only allowed 3 runs in 6 innings. Yeah, the 4 walks was a concern for him. Really not a guy that walks many. Here comes Rob Wooten here in the 7th. Pick up a loss. That was on Monday against the Orioles. Got 2 quick outs and double single, and ended up picking up a loss in 10 innings against the Orioles.
Yeah, tough loss on Memorial Day for the Brewers, giving up a late lead, but they have bounced back nicely. Took the next 2 from the Birds, and then opening up this series with the Cubs with an 11-3 lead here in the 7th. Junior Lake at the plate. Big swing and a miss. Baltimore lost yesterday in Houston, and they are losing tonight in the 8th inning 2-1. The Astros are on fire. Houston has won 6 in a row.
Good for them.
And they've got a chance with a win tonight to go to 7 in a row and improve their record to 24-32, just 8 games under.
That's a tough division for those Houston Astros, but they're playing pretty well at this point.
Lake strikes out. Rob Wooten punches out his first batter faced.
Yeah, Wooten's slider has been terrific as of late. I mean, it was a tough luck loss on Monday, but you know, his slider's been very good, very sharp. There's his split-fingered fastball right here. So he's got the slider and the splitter working very well. That splitter's a good pitch to this Cubs lineup. Bunch of free swingers.
Here's Valbuena. Valbuena doubled in the 3rd inning. He's 1 out of 3 tonight. Cubs scored 2 in the 3rd. They got a home run from Scherholtz in the 6th. There's a breaking ball strike. Brewers have been able to, because of all the close games, the tight games late, how good their bullpen has been, they've been able to pick up some wins out of the bullpen. Rob Wooten has a victory this year. Now, if this game continues like this, might be a night where we see Way-Chong Wong pitch. Always looking for opportunities to get Wong in the game, and this could be the one tonight. Every outing counts in the big leagues for Wong as he tries to gain experience in the major leagues. There's a base hit. Valbuena singles his 2nd hit of the night. Marshfield Clinic has our leaders in relief. Pirates and the Giants. Only 2 clubs in the National League with more wins out of their bullpen. That can sometimes be a good news, bad news thing, but 12 wins is significant. The Brewers are able to come back, stay close in games. They played in a number of 1- and 2-run games, the most in the National League.
Well, that means the relief corps has been pretty good. They're not giving up runs or keeping the opposition off the board and winning games late. That's a good statistic. As long as you're not blowing saves and then getting wins. The Brewers have only done that once.
The clean shaven Jim Henderson out there, hardly recognized him.
Yeah, the Brewers have 12 wins and they have a 3.16 earned run average out of the bullpen. 3.42 with the starting rotation. So Brewers pitching's been terrific.
Marco Estrada in line for the win tonight. He would improve to 5-2. Marco takes his earned run average at .403. A bouncer to 3rd. Reynolds to 2nd. Weeks the turn in time. Double play to end the inning. And now stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch. It's brought to you by the all-new Chevy Silverado.
Brewers Community Foundation. Hey Brewers fans, it's time for the 7th inning stretch by Fisher Nuts, the official nut of your Milwaukee Brewers, for a fresh twist on
They sing "Roll Out the Barrel." Good crowd tonight. As you see our Miller Lite What's on Tap tomorrow. Remember, we're on the air at 2:30 p.m. First pitch just after 3 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. You got Jason Hamill, who beat the Brewers at Miller Park earlier this year against Willie Peralta, and one of the top ERAs in the National League. And Willie Peralta coming off a game against the Marlins where he didn't even have his ace stuff, and yet went 6 innings and only 1 earned run allowed. That was a loss to the Marlins for the Brewers. Willie has been going along smoothly this season. He's emerging as a potential ace, and he comes into tomorrow's start 6th in the National League in earned run average. That'll be a good one tomorrow afternoon. Hope you'll be with us. If not here at Miller Park, then on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Ricky Weeks leads off, bouncing ball to short. Castro will make the play. First time Weeks has been retired. He's 3 for 4 tonight. He's had a busy night.
Yeah, think about the difference in styles between Marco Estrada and Willie Peralta. Could you have more of a difference in starter? You know, 89. Willie throws his slider 89 once in a while, and Willie's going to get that fastball up about 97. So big adjustment for this Cubs offense.
Does that go into the thinking of Renicky when he slots Estrada back in?
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you don't have 2 pitchers that, you know, have the same type of style. I mean, a couple of soft throwing lefties back to back wouldn't work real well. Of course, the Brewers don't have a lefty in their rotation, but in other words, Loesch and Estrada probably wouldn't be good back to back.
How about Garza and Peralta?
A little bit different.
Not so much.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, there was a definite method to the madness for Renicky and Rick Kranitz to insert Giovanni Gallardo back in. They could have pushed him back to his regular rotation spot. Remember, he had an ankle injury. Marco Estrada was actually supposed to pitch Wednesday. Gallardo made that start, got the win against Baltimore. So that set Marco back and Willie Peralta. And then when you add the off day in, you're pitching on 2 extra days rest than they normally would, which is not such a bad thing when you get into this part of the schedule and you've made it through the first 2 months.
It's nice to be able to be in a position where you really don't want to miss one of your starters' turns. That's good. You don't want to skip anybody. They're all throwing pretty well. That keeps everybody fresh throughout the year.
Brewers were fortunate that Gallardo did not need to go on the disabled list, but also fortunate they have enough depth in their minor league system to be able to call on a pitcher, Jimmy Nelson, who came up and got a win in his first big league start in Miami. Went right back to AAA. Brewers are very confident, even as they approach the draft next week, about their minor league stock, especially the pitching department. As Reynolds fouls one off, that'll be in the seats. Now, we just showed you the great season Brad Mills is having. Mike Fiers is having a great year in AAA. Nelson had 5 wins down there.
There's some position players swinging the bats well. Yeah.
You're going to need them. You're going to need everybody. Either with your team or via trade if you need a piece as you get into a pennant race. Reynolds is grinding it out. He's the only position player without a hit tonight. 15 of them have gone around to everybody else.
There's always one in there.
Full count.
Here comes one.
You got a feeling? And a breaking ball called strike 3.
That's a pretty nasty hook right there.
Just a little arthritis, I guess. 2 up, 2 down. By the way, speaking of the starting pitchers, did you see this, Rock, at the pregame show?
I did.
Look at these guys back there. Garza, Loesch.
I like the end.
Gallardo. Look at these guys.
Right at the end. Check it out. Keep watching.
They're having fun, and now they're kind of done, but then now they're
keep watching.
They're thinking about another thing. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Pitcher's rake. That's the theme of the week.
I was reminding you that that Dan Plesac used to do that in a game. He'd be sitting down in the bullpen, a home run would be coming in there directly. They knew they were going to be on TV. As the ball landed in the bullpen, he'd take a hook on somebody and knock him off the bench.
May not be a funnier guy in the game than Dan Plesac.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Oh, man, what a character he is.
Although the host that he works with, pretty funny, too.
Yeah. Yeah, all those guys at MLB Network we're fans of.
Speaking of Matt Vasgersian.
Yeah, he's on the air tonight. He's calling a game. Back to his old job as the play-by-play guy in Houston. I'm sure they'll have a lot to say about this one tonight with the Brewers surging and another great offensive night. 9 consecutive games of double-digit hits.
Yeah, Brewers winning, Cardinals losing. The Giants are have a 9-0 lead over St. Louis.
Wow.
In St. Louis in the 9th inning or in the 8th inning.
Wainwright gave up a lot of those runs. Wainwright's been one of the best pitchers in the game.
Yeah.
He gave up 7 earnings tonight in 4 1/3. And Madison Bumgarner just rolling along. 7 shutout tonight for the Giants. That Giants Cardinals game came right down to the wire last night. St. Louis had the tying run at 3rd, the winning run at 2nd. Romo was leaking oil trying to finish that game, but he got the final out. San Francisco, after shutting out the Cubs in back-to-back games, won the opener last night. Looks like they're on their way again. That's playable. Castillo with mask in hand makes a play. Just didn't want to get it dirty. 3 up, 3 down inning for Barris. He's retired 6 straight. Over the Chicago Cubs. Elian Herrera will take over for Mark Reynolds at 3rd. Mark's been dealing with a little bit of a knee injury. Nothing major, but good chance to get him off his feet tonight. And there is Way-Chong Wong. And it's not even Wednesday. And Wong is on the mound, and you know Renicky would love to see him get some work in a big league game here.
Yeah, just trying to find ways to get him into games. It's been way back on May 19th at Atlanta. Came in a 1-run game. Brewers down by a run, gave up some runs, 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning. That was a game that Lyle Overbay came in to finish. And so Wong trying to finish this one out. Ron Rennick would love to see him get this 8th and 9th inning under his belt.
Let's throw it down to Sophia with more on Wong.
Well, BA, on Wednesday, Way-Chong Wong threw a simulated inning, about 20 to 25 pitches off the mound instead of a normal flat ground session. And Ron Renicky said they're going to try to make this a regular thing for him. He threw to Elian Herrera, Irving Falou, even Aramis Ramirez took some swings. And the idea is just to get him more comfortable on the mound, keep him fresh again with limited game action, and to work on the breaking ball and changeup.
Now Wong will have a chance here in a big league game, and that's the idea. You try to get him in as much as you can. If you don't know the story by now, you're just kind of picking us up this season. Wong was a Rule 5 pick, kind of an administrative thing in baseball where you take a player who was removed from a major league roster. As that ball is down fair by Ruggiano, and he's thinking about 2. He's on his way, and he'll make it with a double. So Wong was taken off the roster by the Pirates, which means any team could pick him up. He passed through the process. The Brewers noticed he was there. They selected him. They liked him. He's coming off Tommy John surgery 2 years ago.
He was only 21 years old at the time, so yeah.
And never pitched above rookie ball. So the thing is, with the Rule 5 draft, you have to keep that player in the major leagues for the season. So the experiment continues. If the Brewers feel like they need that spot and it's going to put them in a bad spot, then they're going to have to obviously work out a trade with the Pirates or offer him back to the Pirates. But you can't send him to the minor leagues without returning him back to where he came. And Wong throws with Tyler Thornburg getting loose behind him.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that that concerns you with Way-Chong Wong. I mean, you're talking about a team that's in first place. You got an 8-run lead, and you know, even before Wong gets into much trouble and before a run scores, you got one of your top relievers getting loose in the bullpen. This is a game where you would think that Wong should be able to finish it out. 8th and 9th innings, get some work, extend them a little bit. And Ron Renicky not taking any chances.
Bouncing ball to short. Segura, tough hop, bobbles briefly, but Castillo is out.
Didn't run very hard down the line.
Kind of slowed it down at the end.
A little bit of a bobble. I think it might have cost Segura, but I think Castillo thought that was relatively routine, and by the time he got to first base, he was barely running. He strided out there. I'm not sure. Maybe he's hurt. I'm not sure. But if he strides it out there, he beats it out.
Renteria's busy in that Cubs dugout. He's making some changes here. We'll see what that's all about. Here's Scherholtz now. Runner at second. Good little breaking ball from Wong.
That's the pitch he needs, not just against lefties, but right-handers, a changeup. That's what Sophia was talking about. And when you're not pitching a lot, you're very rarely getting into games. And again, he hasn't been in a game since May 19th. That's a long time. And your breaking stuff suffers the most. If you can't throw breaking pitches for strikes at this level, good luck to you.
Yeah, those simulated games he's been throwing works twofold. It gives Wong a chance to get on the mound and face hitters, and you get some guys who are in a bench role or haven't had too many at bats. They get to see live pitching as well. So that's kind of a rare thing to have regular simulated games with a pitcher. Normally you only see that for guys coming back from injury. 22 years of age now, just turned 22.
Yeah, because if you throw in a simulated game before the game, pretty good chance you're not going to see the game action.
Right.
That's why you don't see that with guys on the active roster.
He is one of 4 active major league players from Taiwan. One ball, 2 strikes. Got one man out. Scherholtz at the plate. And a little lazy pop-up. Maldonado is way out there, and he makes the catch. Wow, that's not an easy play for a catcher to make.
Wong just got out of there, didn't he? He had, what, 3 strides, and he would have been right under it.
Seems
Maldonado,
like he had the easiest play of them all.
Maldonado took charge of that right away. Check this out. The ball not in the air that far. Wong looks at him. He sees Maldonado coming. He gets out. And I don't think I've ever seen a catcher catch a pop-up that far out into the infield. That's a first. That's right by the mound.
That spin is going away from you from when you're trying to catch it that direction. You're always taught as a catcher to turn around, put your back to the field, so the spin of the ball will come back to you. No chance Maldonado had to do that. He just went out there and made a little Gene Segura over the shoulder basket catch.
Only the ball comes back to you when it's in fair territory.
That's a good point. It doesn't have that much spin on it.
That's just a foul ball. That's a foul ball that applies. But I mean, he had to actually run 60 feet to go get it.
I think you're right. I wouldn't know because I've never caught a ball out there.
I haven't either.
I mean, maybe the cut of the circle is about as far as I've ever been.
Right.
Mike Holt with 2 outs. And it's 2-2.
Nice off speed pitch there. He's getting some breaking pitches over. The change up right there, getting Holt out in front.
Well, the Astros just finished off the Orioles again. Baltimore in a bit of a tailspin now. They've lost 4 in a row. That skips away from Maldonado. It's going to allow Ruggiano to third base. Houston has won 7 straight.
Yeah.
A 2-1 victory tonight.
Orioles having a rough time scoring runs.
Yes, they are. Only 1 run tonight on 5 hits. There's a called strike 3. Way-Chong Wong gets through the inning scoreless. That's how you do it. Head to the bottom of the 8th.
Offense, 11 runs, a season high for them. And Chris Davis' hitting streak now 8 games, couple of doubles for him, including an RBI right out of the gates as part of that 5-run first.
Yeah, you have to like the way he's swinging the bat. You know, when you talk about a young player coming to the big league, you talk about confidence and approach. It just seems like right now he's got a great approach. He's got a lot of confidence and being really waiting at the plate for a good pitch to hit, driving the ball back up the middle.
And he is hitting the ball to all fields right now. Chris Davis, our Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game as he takes the bow. It's been a good offensive game for Milwaukee. We'll talk about it on Brewers Live coming up. Also the approach. And we're going to break it all down after the ball game, Brian.
All right, Craig, looking forward to that. Craig and Jerry following the game. Sophia will have all the sound from the clubhouse and the dugout. Elian Herrera will lead off for the Brewers. Got some changes here for the Cubs. You see Wesley Wright is in the pitch. Darwin Barney, Gold Glove second baseman, is in the game. And Junior Lake moves to left field. Bonifacio ends up in center. He started at second. So that was all the activity by Renteria last inning, making some changes here in an 11-3 game in the bottom of the 8th inning. Wesley Wright just got back from paternity leave. The Cubs closer, Hector Rondon, is currently on paternity leave. So Wright just reactivated after the birth of a child. Former Astro, Dodger.
Yeah, got good numbers. Only 18 appearances for Wesley Wright. That earned run average at a little over 3. He's given up 1 home run. 2 left-handers down in that Cubs bullpen, Wesley Wright and James Russell. Cubs have 8 relievers in their bullpen. They've only got 4 bench players.
Been using a lot of relievers this year. That's what happens when you're sitting at the bottom of the division. Worst record in the National League. Herrera grounds to Castro. Close play. Elian running it out, and he's out. First out of the inning.
He lived the high life at Miller Park all season long with Miller High Life Mondays. Terrace reserve tickets for this Monday's game against the Twins and for all Monday home games throughout the season are just $9 courtesy of Miller High Life. Visit brewers.com/highlight.
A lot of that sounds pretty good right about now. Good crowd tonight. 36,000 plus at Miller Park.
3 more outs and it will be a long, lonely, sad ride down south for the Chicago fans. Haven't had much to cheer about tonight.
Cubs are 19-32. And a head scratching year for Renteria. Finally get your chance to manage in the big leagues, and a team that is continuing to struggle, and you start to think about the plan the Cubs have in place. They've already gone through the manager. Remember the whole talk about the Theo trio, Theo Epstein taking over the Cubs job and hiring Dale Swaim. Jed Hoyer's their GM. And now they're having stadium troubles again. All those renovations that they have planned, voted down. It's been a very disappointing couple of days for Cubs fans. Carrie Muskrat, their terrific writer at Cubs.com, MLB.com writer. She details that. Bouncing ball, and Segura, no chance to get him. Another base hit. Gene Segura joins the 3-hit club tonight with Ryan Braun and Ricky Weeks and Martin Maldonado.
Another great approach, just trying to lay the bat on the baseball. The Brewers have really put together some nice at bats tonight. Sometimes they get hit, sometimes they don't, but 16 hits not too bad, and a lot of those up the middle end of the opposite field. That's what they've been doing the last week and a half. Not trying to pull the baseball.
4 3-hit games in the Brewers lineup tonight. Braun with a 2-run homer in the first inning started the scoring. He's driven in 3 and now 26 runs batted in. Bouncing ball, Castro under his gloves. That was going to be a tough play to throw him out, but Castro trying to pick it and get himself in a position to throw. It'd be an interesting scoring decision here. That was the only chance he was going to have to throw him out. It'll go as an E6.
I think his best chance was to get it out at second base. Castro trying to catch it and put himself in a position to throw all at the same time and just not able to get it.
Well, 2 on with 1 out for Lucroy. Lucroy tonight is 1 for 4. Started the day 4th in the National League in hitting. He's currently at .325. Chance to turn it. Barney to Castro, over to Olt, and the side is retired. Last call for the Cubs. To the 9th we go. Brewers up 11-3. Zubas, the ball and glove Zubas just makes you want to dance, doesn't it? 9th inning, 11-3. And a lot of changes here for the Brewers. Logan Schaefer, the new center fielder. Elian Herrera moves into right field. Was at third base last inning. The new third baseman is Irving Falou. Lyle Overbay over at first base as we play follow the director. Follow the veto. And he shows us that Tyler Thornburg is on the mound. Feels like a spring training game here.
Yeah, a little surprised that Wong's not going out there for another inning. Maybe extend him a little bit. But I guess Ron Rennie wants to have him a feel-good moment out there. A scoreless inning. He did give up a base hit. But a 0 on the board for Wong. He needed that. And Tyler Thornburg, last pitch on Tuesday, tossed a scoreless inning against the Orioles. Tyler Thornburg's been outstanding this year.
Darwin Barney will lead off.
I guess it's time for Tyler. He hasn't pitched in a while.
Yeah, gotta get him out there.
Actually, it's only been 2 days.
Send our congratulations to the Brewers AA club, the Huntsville Stars. They won again tonight, Rock. They've won 7 straight games, and their record is 38-17.
Wow.
They're 21 games over, and they're tied with the Dunedin Blue Jays for the most wins in baseball. Thanks to Ken Spindler in the Brewers Media Relations Department for that info. How about that? AA Huntsville tied for the best record in all of the minor leagues.
That's nice. Nobody in the big leagues has that many wins.
Brewers are up there. A win tonight. Milwaukee will have 33 wins. The Giants have the most wins in the major leagues with 36. They're going to win tonight. They're going to win their 4th in a row. Giants are starting to put a little distance between themselves and the Rockies. There's Davis on the run, and he makes the catch. Chris Davis reaches out at the last moment, takes a hit away from Darwin Barney.
And the troubles continue for Darwin Barney, having a miserable season at the plate. Nice running catch by Chris Davis to take extra bases away from Barney. Doing it with the glove as well.
Davis had another terrific night at the plate. 2 more hits, 2 doubles, an RBI. Just about everything going the way the Brewers wanted tonight. Marco Estrada in line for the win. Would send him to 5-2. ERA went up slightly, just up over 4, but he had a quality start tonight. 6 innings, 3 runs. Brewers looking for their 3rd straight win. And still 4 to go on the homestand. 2 more with the Cubs. 3 o'clock game tomorrow. 1 o'clock game Sunday. And then the Twins are here Monday and Tuesday. Bonifacio to Segura. And Segura for the 2nd out. 2 gone here in the ninth.
Let that one fly, didn't he? Even Bonifacio runs pretty well. Put a little extra on that one.
Maybe we should have Segura do the post-game instructional.
I think he's done for the night.
Last call for the Cubs, Junior Lake. And then we'll get ready for Willie Peralta and Jason Hamill tomorrow. Hamill's had a good year. Hamill beat the Brewers at Miller Park earlier this season. The rest of the homestand, the Brewers are going to have Peralta, Loesch, and then Garza will get the Twins on Monday, and then Gallardo against the Twins. There they are.
Garza may face each one of his old teams this year.
He's got a lot of former teams, and he's in line to pitch against them all.
Except Texas.
He'll have the Rays, I think. He's already had the Cubs twice. He'll have the Twins on Tuesday. Looking for mischief there, Matt Garza. Two and two. pitchers, man. Right?
Four out of 5 days, they have a blast, don't they?
Just what a life. Oh, to have an arm like that.
Yeah, good work if you can get it, right?
Just making up games in the dugout. See if you can bounce this cup into the trash can. 2-2, and it's upstairs, 3-2. Down to the last strike. Here it comes from Thornburg. Popped him up. Going to be close. Maldonado will give it a look. And it's just out of his reach. Disrupting the dugout games of the starting pitchers. I don't feel like Scooter Gennett's really welcome in that group. He's kind of disrupting the flow over there, you know, a little bit out of his element.
Got the yellow jersey on. Gold.
Yeah, gold sounds better. We'll do it again. Another 3-2 pitch. And did he go? No, he didn't. Lake draws the walk.
Got a little swagger to him, doesn't he, Junior Lake? Draws a 2-out walk in the ninth, down by 8 runs. Flips the bat, flips the batting glove. Watch him. Yep, there you go.
No
yep,
problem.
I got it.
Got to sell it. All right, so Thornburg starts it up again. Luis Valbuena. Brewers score 11 runs tonight, 16 hits. The runs, the most in a game this year. And the hits are 3 shy of their season high, which came in Boston in April. If I remember, that 19-hit game was on a brutally cold night.
Yes, it was.
Temperatures in the 30s that night, if I remember. We were shocked to see that many hits. They're still at it. The 3-0 pitch is right down the heart. And he lost him. Ball 4. So back-to-back walks. Cubs are still at it. Here comes Starlin Castro. Maldonado is going to pay Thornburg a visit. Cubs pitching staff has not allowed 16 hits in a game this year until tonight. The most by the Brewers, or an opponent this year. Here's Castro. A shot back up the middle. It's going to bring in a run. Here comes Lake. Starlin Castro with an RBI single. Cubs are fighting till the end.
It's never over till the last out. That's the thing about baseball. I mean, you think you had strike 3 on Junior Lake, didn't? Thornburg lost his focus, and now Rick Kranitz is on his way out to have a chat with his relief pitcher.
And if you're the Cubs, the goal is to make the Brewers use one more reliever. Make them get somebody active in the bullpen.
And bring out Anthony Rizzo, it looks like. Or is that Baker?
Yeah, it's John Baker.
Yep, Baker.
Zach Duke starts to throw in the pen. Rizzo will be back in there tomorrow. No question. His first day off of the year. A big bat. He had his troubles against Marco Estrada through his career, so getting the day off today. John Baker pinch hitting. One and one. And that's going to fall, a base hit. Round and third, headed home. Here comes Valbuena. Throw is cut off. Another run is in for the Cubs. It's 11-5. High pitch count for Thornburg. A broken bat RBI single from Baker. We'll probably give him one more hitter.
You got Shearholtz coming up next after Castillo, and that's why Zach Duke getting loose in the bullpen. That's the last thing Ron Renneke wanted, to have another reliever get up.
Here's Castillo. He'll be ready to swing. And takes a nice breaking ball in there for a strike.
Fans been standing a while.
Yeah, they're waiting on that last out. Thornburg got the first two men out. Had two strikes on Lake, but he walked him. Another walk to Valbuena. Castro and Baker with base hits. RBI singles. If only he could run out the clock. There's a bouncer to Segura, and that will do it. The Brewers win. They beat the Cubs 11-5 on another big night offensively. The Brewers go to 33-22, 11 games over. Marco Estrada the winner. He's 5-2. Travis Wood suffers the loss. And we send it to Craig Kishon, patiently waiting for Brewers Live to begin. What do you have coming up for us, Craig?
Oh, we're not going anywhere for the next half hour. We've got Brewers Live postgame on the way. Big start for Milwaukee. We'll look over that first inning. Big performances at the plate. The approach will also be analyzed when we come back.